Lex Luger, West Bromwich Albion, lot in common. Match.
Huge disappointment.
There aloft in the soft and friendly breeze flies red, white, and blue above you, and unfurled with her world of memories of the men who finally said, I love you. When I see the stars and the stripes, then my heart is a drum wildly beating. So proud to be part
Hello
of
and welcome back to the only wrestling podcast that exclusively rebooks, reviews and reimagines the worst of wrestling's past. We are Better Call Creative, and as ever I am joined to my left by Uncle Sam himself.
Hello.
And Jack Bunyan.
Jack Bunyan?
He's I couldn't think of another thing, and seeing as you're the giant of the podcast, Paul Bunyan is the giant in American folklore.
Yeah.
Lex Luger. Say hello.
Hello.
And I
carry on if you don't say hello.
The podcast ends here, and I am your host Ben Chance, and today is a special birthday edition of Better Call Creative. It's our second one of the year, and it is Sam's turn for his guilty pleasure.
Yes.
And we will judge you as guilty after this. But yes,
there's some gems in there. Come on, you got with me.
we are checking out SummerSlam 1993. I don't know whether this is quite revered as one of the worst SummerSlams, but there is a couple of moments.
This was probably the worst one that had happened up until 1993.
Yeah.
There's a couple more that.
And then 94 put the pipe down and said, right, come on then.
And then 95 just turned up. Look back in our archive for that.
But yeah, there is a bit of a contrast between your two choices, as you had CZW and this one has Bruce Hart.
Oh, Bruce.
Angry Bruce.
But we'll discuss as we go through why Sam chose SummerSlam 1993. But I'm going to open with a question, as we don't have a poll. As we've got the Lex Express, I'll be your hero.
Yeah.
The obvious question is, who is your American hero?
American
yes,
hero.
Got to be American, Sam.
Gotta be American.
Who is your American hero?
It's a strange question, to answer.
Well, I'll open. David Hasselhoff.
He's not American.
Isn't he American?
It's like Austrian.
German or Austrian.
His
name's Hasselhoff.
That's a good
Well, he's
point.
part. He is American.
Hugh
Everything about him is American.
Hefner. That's who I'm thinking.
Brad Bobley.
Brad Bobley.
Bob Bradley.
He's your hero.
He's American.
You need a new hero.
Jack.
I don't know. I don't like any of them.
Well, that's our American audience, John.
Bob Barker, that'll do.
Hello.
It was a tough question, I must admit.
I would choose Colin Mockery,
But he's Canadian.
Everybody I think is Canadian.
Ryan Styles is
Is he Canadian?
I don't
I
know.
thought he was Canadian.
Is he?
I don't know.
And then all the other funny ones. I mean, they're funny, are they? So they've got to be either Canadian or English. There's no chance they're going to be American. That's all half our audience gone. But
Bruce Hart, but he's Canadian.
but yes, we are heading back to August 27th, 1993.
August 9th.
And you topping the UK charts in 1993, Mr. Vain. Remember that one? Gotta Mr. Vain, gotta Mr. Vain. Why do we always think like Vic Reeves?
Shooting stars had an impact on us. And we didn't realise.
Over the pond in the US, where we've lost all the audience, it was Can't Help Falling in Love with You by
Not UB40.
UB40. Can't believe that.
A Brummie reggae band.
Was top in the US charts. And over here, we had ska music.
Which
course,
is,
Dan, you
well, they
before.
Danish.
I think they were. Yeah, it was like Europop or something like that, weren't it? Euro dance. The top film in the UK was Jurassic Park.
Good
So
film.
yeah, good film. And released 2 weeks prior to this on the Sega Genesis. Royal Rumble.
Yes. Bam, 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 bam. And then stick then. That's the outfit.
Yeah, so let's turn that. What's gone on here? Doing wrong.
None of these people are on this show.
1 day late. That's true.
The roster on the game off.
No, it was the narcissist on the game.
It was
wasn't
the
Where's
narcissist.
Hacksaw and Model?
Well, there's because the two different
Hogan's
systems
on
had
it.
different rosters, don't they? Because the Nintendo one had Flair, Yoko, Tatanka,
All
Ted.
left.
They was up to date.
Yeah, they was up to date, but we had
We had
Hogan,
Bottle,
Martel,
Crush.
Shango. I think Crush was on both. There was
Oh,
a
you-
couple that
oh,
was
we
on
gotta go
both.
You gotta get Crush on both, otherwise it won't sell.
I think
Well, what
that's-
more on this? Poor Crush.
Bloody hell.
He's already had his feud.
Yeah, straight.
I know
Done
he
now.
got sat on by Yoko. That was it.
Oh,
After
yeah.
the Intrepid thing.
That led to Macho Man.
Macho Man's
Crush.
last match.
Yeah.
Going to WCW.
In the UK, 1 day later on Sky TV, UK Nickelodeon would launch.
Ooh.
And the WWF magazine, when I hazard a guess what was on the cover.
Hogan.
No,
Hogan and Brett.
it was Brett, but inside you had the spread of Brett versus Hogan. You know, the
That one.
The
Roman.
tug of war that people say didn't happen, but it did.
So this,
My people, do you mean Hogan?
Yes.
this SummerSlam was very different to what it was supposed to be.
Yeah.
Because it was supposed to be that.
It was, and also, you know, WCW did their one and only double cover version of this. You could buy 2 different versions. Who do you think was on the covers?
Sting.
And
Johnny B. Bad.
no, Sting and Bulldog.
Sid and Vader.
Sid and
Oh,
Vader.
no.
Bash at the Beach.
Oh,
or it.
God.
One of, and they had exactly the same pose. So you had Vader doing this and Sid sort of posing beneath, and then you had Sting doing that and Bulldog doing it. Brilliant. I want to buy them now. The double
You
edition.
find them. I think we know what's happening at Christmas. We just need to know who's getting what colour.
And West Bromwich Albion were promoted back to Division 1 after beating Port Vale the season before. We'd started quite well, 2 or 3 wins on the bounce, and then we played Stoke.
Always ends there.
And we lost 1-0, but Liverpool would beat Leeds 2-0 with goals from Ian Rush and Jan Molby.
Yes.
So there you go. So
Happy days.
that was the world of 1993. But we are jumping off the Lex Express for SummerSlam 1993. The show opens with the Lex Express, full red, white and blue glory, and it arrives at Suburban Hills, Michigan. Narrated by...
Todd.
No. It was me and Gene. It was the only time.
Yeah,
We never saw him, but he was on the show narrating the
Okay.
actual packages with Lex. So, there's a bit later on though with what Todd does where I realised why me and Gene was not long for the WWE.
Oh, because I think he did leave after this.
Yeah, this
He
was
went-
his-
his last
Yeah,
paper.
this
it
was
was
his
weird
last
to
pay-per-view.
hear him this late in the WWE.
Yeah,
In
this-
93.
I'll talk about it at the end, but this whole pay-per-view feels like
We're in
the
the
real
middle of a
last
change.
tiny dregs of the Hogan era.
That's it, right, we're moving here. We've got to cut this little bit off first.
And next event, we're going to have 4 blokes dressed as Doug. We get the old school SummerSlam music, and probably the last time we hear of growling Vince. It's a SummerSlam! And I think he did sort of commentate on all the SummerSlams for a long while. Vince, it tended to be Vince.
Tended to be.
Because I'm sure he did 99.
88 was
Schiavone didn't he?
Gorilla and Superstar Billy Graham. 89 was Schiavone and Ventura. Then it was 90, I think, Vince and Jesse, I think.
Yeah, I think.
At one point,
Well, no, it
Vince
was
just
Je-
went
no, it
on
was
doing
Vince-
the pay-per-view.
No, what? 90 was Vince and Piper because of the Warrior match, where Piper was just saying, why don't we tie you to the cage?
Piper was just
Piper was
shitting on the
shitting on
Warrior,
Warrior.
which you can see in
And
our archives.
91 was Gorilla, Piper, and Heenan.
Oh, I always thought that
So
Vince,
Vince did all the SummerSlams.
Yeah, apart from all of them.
Apart from all of them.
But he
He did for
does.
92.
He does do this one with Bobby the Brain Heenan, who's in a very sparkly outfit. I think this has got to be one of his last.
Yeah, 'cause
few as well.
I think he left the Raw after Survivor Series.
He did do Survivor Series.
He did do Survivor Series, and then he left not long
Because
after.
I
Early
think
December, I think.
Mr. Lawler was a bit busy that night. Anyway, Bobby reminds us that there is 4 titles up for grabs tonight, as the 4th being the King of the Ring is up for grabs between Brett and Jerry
So if you win the
Lawler.
tournament and then you lose your match, that tournament was pointless.
It happened a lot though, didn't it?
It is.
King Duggan and Haku and all that. Bobby tells us that Jim Cornette is now the manager of Yokozuna because they're fed up of Fuji not being able to talk properly. As we go to our opening contest, and it's the $1 Million Man in a snazzy white number heading out to the ring. Razor ups his gear game too as well. Did you enjoy fluorescent pink Razor?
It's
He was alright, yeah.
Yeah, he
Wasn't
always
bad
looks
bad
good in
shades.
every gear though,
Yeah.
doesn't he really, Razor? He
Yeah.
just suits every colour.
and he had long turn face, had he? as
Yeah, well,
Just,
conveniently, they mention 1, 2, 3 Kids wins, but not over Razor and always over Ted. They forget the fact that 1, 2, 3 Kids started his
started
rise.
his actually face too.
Yeah, that started it, didn't it?
Yeah.
So, it's Razor Ramon versus the $1 Million Man. Teddy jumps Razor to start us off, lays punches and chops. However, the crowd rallies Razor, who's still in his vest, hits a fall-away slam and sends Ted outside to regroup. Vince completely ignores Razor's loss to the 1, 2, 3 Kid and builds Ted's loss as the bigger one. Bobby suggests Razor should have taken the domestic job that Ted DiBiase apparently offered him. Great. Razor gives Ted a clothesline to the outside. He loves that bump. He always takes that backwards.
Oh, that one, yeah, the clothesline over the rope.
Ted suckers in Razor and yanks him by the trunks into the turnbuckle. Ted then gives Razor some old school chokes and a backbreaker. Vince is completely appalled by Ted's chokehold, but Bobby's suggestion that it's not a chokehold and it's not his fault because Razor's got a big Adam's apple. Love it. The ref strangely checks both Razor's arms as well. Not just one. I'll raise them both.
What if you raised them both and then
One
one dropped and the other one stayed up?
Just kept doing that.
And then off.
They'll do it with Taker, the lights will go on.
Kept flickering. That'd be brilliant. Yeah, that's fantastic. A nice suplex by Teddy sets up the dream, but Razor counters it with an elbow. Razor flops outside and after a face plant into the buckle, and Ted uses the distraction to remove the buckle pad from the opposite corner. Ted goes to then plant Razor headfirst into it, but super strength from Razor, he reverses this, and then, super strength by Razor to actually lift a very doughy $1 Million Man up for the Razor's Edge. It doesn't look the most vicious Razor's Edge he's ever given, but
No.
it's the lot of strength.
He's obviously got back problems.
Yeah.
Safe with.
Yeah.
And that gets us the win for Razor Ramon. I'll save you, Sam, as it's your choice. So, Jack, what do you think of that?
Yeah, decent enough. Gets Razor over as a face against a credible heel. Doing the job on the way out. Ted obviously retiring. So, yeah, it was okay. Ted ain't what he was. But
No.
he did a good enough job to shine Razor up.
Psychology, though, he's just as good as any, isn't he?
Yeah.
And I think he actually left the company for a while
Yeah,
after this.
he
didn't
did. I think he did wrestle 1 or 2 in All Japan and then retired after that.
Oh, so it wasn't officially his in-ring last
Not
match.
officially, but in the
the
WWF,
fit.
it's gone.
And
That's
you
it
can
after
just
that.
tell. Razor's so over with the crowd. There's no way you
Yeah.
couldn't keep him as a heel because he's just
Yeah.
so over. I thought it was a good opener, very good opener. In fact, as normally when someone's retiring, you can tell that they're
No,
retiring.
They're not bothered.
And I don't think if you didn't know, you wouldn't have looked at this and thought that's definitely the crap match from Ted on his way out. Like, you could have easily carried on
Yeah, it's still.
based on what we saw. Obviously, we're not him, but yeah, I thought it was a.
We're not
I'm not
Ted.
Ted DiBiase.
I'm not Ted, but I did enjoy it. I thought it was good.
Yeah,
So-
I enjoyed it. There's fans really into Razor. Now we had the quick face turn. Listening to Bruce Pritchard, sorry Ben.
Ugh.
But this originally I think was going to be the tag match between Money Inc. and Razor and 1, 2, 3 Kids because they have a match later on. So they was going to do a tag match, but I think because when they realised Ted was going to finish, they thought we'll give him a singles match instead of
okay.
having a tag match.
They'll give him a singles match and not build it.
Well, it sort of did, but it
Yeah.
looked like more like a tag match as opposed to singles matches. But I think they just split him because of Ted.
Kind of makes sense, but we'll talk about IRS.
The other match.
Yes.
They spawned out of it.
We'll talk about that later on. So now we go to roaming reporter.
Oh, God.
It's Todd Pettingill, and he's with the Steiner brothers' mom and sister.
Yes, indeed, Vince McMahon. I am standing by with Mother Steiner and Crystal, or is it? I can't even tell. You both look so great. Now, Papa Steiner is missing in action today. Where is he?
Papa's home on the couch. He's not feeling well.
He's not feeling well.
No.
Well, we wish him best. We hope he gets better soon. Now, I just want to ask you real quickly, the mother of the Steiner brothers, it had to be an incredible childhood. Were you always telling him, no Frankensteiners by my good lamps?
Right. Whatever you say sounds good.
Right, and you, the poor sister of the Steiner brothers,
Right,
can you imagine?
terrible.
There had to be no man you could bring home that would pass that inspection.
That's it. They'd walk in the house, they'd see Robin Scott go, I'm out of here.
Our sister needs to stay home and study. More studying for the Steiner.
Because your favorite sons are about to go down!
Apparently, Papa Steiner is at home because he's feeling like shit. And
I ain't watching that crap. You should have stayed with football.
and the sister, quite a famous botch, calls Rick Steiner Rob.
Well, I don't know really if it's a botch. It's just that the one knows him by.
Well,
I don't
his name-
care about Kate.
Why don't you know his kayfabe name?
His name is Rob Rick Steiner.
Rob
isn't it?
Rex Steiner.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
they just thought, let's get rid of Rob and call him Rick.
And she makes a,
Scott Rex Steiner. That don't make sense to me.
and Todd makes a joke about them being possessive, and basically we all laugh it off. Jim Cornette saves the awkwardness.
Yeah.
And,
I will shout over this.
yeah. And the deserving number one contenders for the tag team
Yeah.
belts head out. It's Dr. Tom Pritchard and Jiggly Jimmy Del Rey. Oh, what a team. What
Do you
a
think-
fucking team.
Every time I looked at Cornette on this, I think that suit and tie, the jacket and tie, was white, but he put his red shirt in with it, and it ran, and it gone pink.
It is a bit. It's a weird sort of colour scheme that he's wearing tonight.
And the neck brace is from a Smoky Mountain angle that he was doing. So to sell it, he still
Yeah,
wore the
still
neck brace,
wore it.
even in WWE.
Live the gimmick, man. Live the gimmick. The Steiner brothers are out to definitely one of my favourite old school themes, the Michigan.
He actually got
Never
through.
ended.
Well,
Never ended
sometimes it's not on the network, and then other times it is because I think
Well,
it's,
did that about his big Papa Pump thing?
I think sometimes it is actually the Michigan
Yeah, the
Fight
proper
song or
college.
whatever they call them.
Is
Yeah,
that what they come out to?
Yeah, actually, like the
Michigan.
Scottish, like
like Oklahoma.
Yeah, JR's is the Boomer Sooner. It's actually what the
got
college
no
football
great-
use.
Oh, I'm terrified of them. Bloody hell, we're going to party trumpet.
We'll get to, there's definitely a
It's like-
theme that is less. That is more
like,
farty later on.
What is it, the liquidator for the Albion? If you was a footballer,
That's
if you was a wrestler, that would be
Well, I'll reference it later. I'll save it because I'll reference it later on about the Albion and an entrance theme. Because Albion actually used to come out to someone's entrance theme that is on this show
Is
tonight.
it Luger's?
I'll get to it. Yeah. It's Bam Bam.
No, it's Taker's, eh?
Yeah.
Death March.
That was it, yeah. I got Stoke. Fucking hell, get taken. So, it's our second match and our first title defence as the Steiner brothers face the Heavenly Bodies. For the second match running, the heels jump the faces and isolate Rick. They hit a nice double flapjack, but Scotty gets in and gives Jimmy a monkey flip, a belly to belly on Dr. Tom, a tilt to whirl on Jimmy, and they completely and utterly batter the shit out.
It's our whole cowboys.
The crowd fucking love them though.
Yeah,
They
that's it.
absolutely love them. Dr. Tom and Scotty start off the match properly. And, well, Scotty continues it because he press slams him on the wobbliest legs I've ever seen.
Yeah.
But he managed to do it.
No, don't drop him.
And then
Oh, my God.
Jimmy's in to get a back body drop as well. The bumping on show, I mean, it's fantastic. Rob, or Rick, is in and he clotheslines the challengers. The Steiners completely dominate, but nice double teamwork on a bulldog, and Dr. Tom slows the faces. The Doc hits an Inzaguri on Scotty.
The dog.
Yeah, that's what I'm calling him, to send him to the outside. But we sadly miss the cannonball.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
Sleep.
what's going on? I like how Vince goes, look at that! Look at that over there!
a ginger man.
Then he does his jiggly dance. Oh, what a man!
What a gimmick.
And then he hits.
so sleazy, you know.
Yeah, we know what happened with Jimmy Del Rey as well, why he got fired. So
Yeah, that's true.
he might have been living the gimmick. He hits around the world DDT, and
I don't know what happened with
We'll tell
I'll tell you the story at the end. And Dr. Tom hits a knee drop to the back of Scotty's head. Shawn Michaels watches on as Jimmy Del Rey teaches him how to do Sweet Chin Music. Or the Young Bucks, whichever one you choose.
No, not there. Slap the leg, brother.
Cornette hits a racket shot on Scotty, but Bobby missed it as he was ordering a Coke at the time. Scotty scouts the DDT attempt this time and dumps Jimmy on his head with a suplex. On double underhook suplex this time to the dock, and Rick makes the hot tag. There's a big clothesline and slams. Another wobbly top rope bulldog this time, but the pin is broken up. And then Cornette tosses the racket in. And at this point, it just felt like the Heavenly Bodies
They're going
to win.
Yeah, I thought
I don't know what's going on.
I bet Vince had that cross his mind. We've been there all time. Let's take the belts off.
Yeah, definitely. But no, Rick Steiner kicks out of the racket shot. Perfectly timed miscommunication as Jimmy hits a moonsault onto Dr. Tom, and then Scotty hits the Frankensteiner perfectly for a change. Rick Steiner steals the pin, which I enjoyed the most about it.
He's the older brother, he got to have it.
And the Steiners have retained their titles. I'll start with you this time, Sam. Go on.
I enjoyed this better than the rock and roll shite that you showed us. But yeah, it's better because of the Steiners. That can throw them about.
Yeah.
And I can't help but think, if only this Scott Steiner was in the Fed in 2003.
I mean, Vince probably was sold on Scott Steiner because the last time he remembered him, he had like Michigan music and he was wearing yellow and blue.
Dave Meltzer.
I mean, you gotta
love the Steiners.
I love the Steiners, but I absolutely love the Heavenly Bodies. I just
they have good heel bumpers.
Every team that fights the Heavenly Bodies come out better because they fought the Heavenly Bodies, and they have got a gimmick, and they're two men that are obviously not Heavenly Bodies. Being Heavenly Bodies. But I thought it was a really, really well paced match, and I think if you lined up every tag match from sort of rock and roll wrestling to this, it'd be in the top 10 tag matches that the WWE has ever done at that point.
Jack, ever better than any Killer Bees.
Oh yeah, definitely. Better than any King Kong Bundy and Big John Studd
match. Haku, lead on rope Andre. This match was good. There. No, it's very good. The Heavenly Bodies are very, very good, very underrated. The Steiner brothers are very over. They are very unsafe. They do a bit of shit for dropping people on their head.
Yeah.
I hate the Frankensteiner because Scott looks like he always comes off worse. He's just lucky that he's got such a strong neck. He should be dead. But apart from that, it is a very good, very paced well. You know, they get the shit in at the start, then the heels take control, cut people off, then they come back. They give him the racket and still kicked out, so you've shined them up perfectly.
Yeah.
You've put them so over. So
I don't understand what happened with the WWE after this, because you had late 80s, early 90s, you had the Art Foundation Demolition, then you had LOD coming, you had the Nasties, you had the Rockers, you had Money Inc., you had the Beverleys. You had proper structured tag teams, and then literally after this, you've got the Men on a Mission versus the Quebecers, and you've got Bastion Booger and Bam Bam as a team. Like, why did that?
I don't know.
It's almost like Vince watched this and went, "No, I'm killing tag teams.
I'm killing the best two tag teams. I'm going to have them in another match later on." In all honesty, the only two that can probably work.
I mean, even the Guns are better in this show than what they turned out to be long term. And the Shrinkers are a good team as well. That's what I call them, the Shrinkers. The story, it's the Helter Skelter story. So apparently there was a to-do and a woman was found covered in blood and
is this Jimmy Del Rey?
Yeah, Jimmy Del Rey. Yeah.
Jimmy Del Rey, and Tatanka was there as well.
Tatanka was there, and I think that's why he got suspended. But it turned out he did it was Jimmy Del Rey who did it. But Tatanka was just there at the time, so he got
Nash tells a story about this.
Yeah, because he said there was like And when I woke up, half of her head was completely shaved. Her had like just long black hair.
What the fuck?
Because he said he woke up and he saw the police and he rang Taker because apparently he was hanging about with all of them and just said, just stay in your room or get out the back way. There's cops around.
Yeah.
Fuck me.
Jimmy Del Rey got fired after
What?
that.
Yeah.
And,
Yeah,
he
I
wasn't.
didn't realise that.
He wasn't the nicest of men, apparently.
To be honest, you could tell from looking at him.
He looks like a sleazeball.
He does.
Live the gimmick. That's what I say. You know what I mean?
I've got to get it over.
So we don't need Mean Gene because we have got Joe Fowler, and he is the interviewer
I think
backstage.
he was apparently going to be the replacement.
He was a sports bloke, and he talks like a sports bloke, doesn't he?
I think he does like a...
Yeah.
He does like old shop, isn't he?
Yeah, I've seen it. Yeah, it just drives me mad. What are they doing that for?
Just get somebody who knows the product.
Yeah. That's all people want. When people watch wrestling, Vince, they want stuff about wrestling. They don't go, I wish... What wrestling needs is a bloke who looks like he can tell you about...
I wish Richard Keys was interviewing him. Oh, that'd be great.
No, I actually do. He's just a bit about
Take her boots on.
So, yeah, apparently Mean Gene isn't even doing backstage duties tonight.
How lucky am I? My very first assignment is SummerSlam. This is bigger than life. Thank you, Vince McMahon, for bringing me on board. We've just seen a title match. We're about to see another one. Shawn Michaels has the Intercontinental belt. He's going to take on Mr. Perfect. Shawn is here along with his bodyguard, Diesel. Shawn, you've won it. You've lost it. You've won it. Can you hang on to this thing?
Now all the questions are going to be answered. Who is the greatest Intercontinental Champion of all time? Is it Mr. Perfect or is it Shawn Michaels? Well, all those answers are going to come across tonight, and I will prove to everybody, you and all of the world, that Shawn Michaels is the greatest Intercontinental Champ.
Now, wait a minute. They say that Mr. Perfect caused you to lose it, and Diesel won it back for you.
I got news for you. Who's the one that's wearing it? It's Shawn Michaels, so I must have won it. Isn't that right, Diesel? That's right. The Heartbreak Kid can take care of the work in the ring. Hey, everybody knows the chicks dig this guy. I'm here just to keep him off the champ. Let's get out of here, champ.
Well, that's where the action is. They are headed for the ring as we speak, so we better do the same thing. This is Joe Fowler reporting. Let's go where the action is. Ringside, Vince.
He interviews Shawn and Diesel. Shawn puts over his upcoming matches, deciding who is the best IC champion of all time. Diesel says he's only here to keep the chicks off the champ. And Joe Fowler name drops himself before sending us to the ring. Because I think he just basically goes there. I'm Joe Fowler. See you at the ring. All right.
Back to you, Vince. Don't acknowledge the crowd, damn it.
The crowd pop big for the IC title match announcement by the Fink as Shawn Michaels heads out. I do like that there is a hook that they didn't really use too much, was that nobody has won the IC title 3 times at this point, which was a chance for Perfect to be
3 times.
a three-peat.
Three-peater.
But they didn't really make the most of that.
No,
I think they could have really
know
that.
No. Well, there's something about it hadn't been successfully defended at SummerSlam.
Yeah, so this is the first time that...
the
Oh,
champion.
don't ruin it. Oh, I've watched it. Don't
Yeah. Sorry, guys. But yeah, this up to now, every time the IC title has been defended, it has
And you got
changed.
Perfect, who could be 3 times, so you got that little story.
Will he?
Perfect's lost it twice.
Yes.
2 of those times.
Texas Tornado
Yes.
for his first loss.
Yeah, God, we've done everything now. We've completed the podcast. So, Mr. Perfect is out. Black and orange. Not a fan. That colour, blue and white, is much better than black and orange.
Well,
I'll
what?
be clear. Yes.
Albion.
Yeah, all right.
Better than Barnet.
Barnet.
Leave Barnet alone.
So it's a nice,
blue and yellow.
there's a nice even start, but a little bit miscommunication on what I presume was supposed to be a double face plan.
Yeah, where he just dropped it, but they both just lay there. So it's meant to be selling it.
What's happened here?
Both of them are such good sellers that they forgot which one's meant
Yeah,
to be
both
selling.
of them. That's the problem, I think, is that both of them are really good sellers. That they sell
Sell too much for each other.
Sell fucking trash, don't they?
Whoa!
Yeah, do a big spin.
That's why sometimes you shouldn't have these kind of wrestlers fight each other.
Well, we'll get to that. Perfect works over the arm before another sequence ends with Shawn unable to take Perfect down. The timing on a back elbow is also a little off, but Shawn does bump very nicely for a clothesline. Perfect catches Shawn off the top with an arm drag, but the pace again settles down as there's a lot of mat work. Perfect sends Shawn to the outside, but on a distraction from Diesel, Shawn hits Sweet Chin Music outside. Connected as well as he'd probably connected up until that point as well. And there was no slapping of the leg.
No
slap of the leg.
Was that his finish though at the time, or was he still doing
the teardrop suplex?
Yeah, the teardrop arm. Shawn follows this up with an axe handle from the apron to keep up the momentum. Shawn
Sorry, I love you.
Sorry, I love you. Suplex!
Quite about he's going to hook him for the suplex.
Sorry, I love you. Why are you giving me a hook?
I don't know if it was perfect to actually send it to Shawn to use that, because he was doing it as a setup for him. He said, "We'll just do that."
Yeah,
it's more impressive than a suplex.
And you can hit it on anybody.
Well, exactly.
And you don't have to wait till 2008 to pick up the play.
Shawn works over the lower back of Perfect, which was the injury that laid him out for a while, I believe.
Got him Lloyd's of London policy.
Yeah, which he's going to go and reclaim in a bit.
Yeah.
And there's a backbreaker hold. Perfect regains control as Shawn goes bumping all around the ring. They battle on a backslide, and the reversal goes into the Perfect Plex, but Diesel stops the pinfall. This causes a wild brawl outside between Perfect and Diesel. They battle outside until Shawn is thrown in, and on the throw-in, he sort of rolls over Earl, which distracts Earl and allows Diesel to throw Perfect into, I think it was the steps or the post, one of the two. And Earl continues his count whilst on the floor, presumably. Because it's a very, very quick count, and Shawn Michaels has won the match whilst being the champion via count out. I wonder if we'll see any other title matches end via count out tonight. Todd grabs a soundbite from Shawn, who calls himself the greatest IC champion of all time, and then Perfect does a really gassy run.
A bit of a gassy run.
I'll get you.
He did that at Mania, but that's what started the feud with Shawn, when they had the brawl backstage, when he ran after Luger.
Oh, yeah.
They do have a brawl though, later on backstage after it.
I didn't see that. Did that happen?
But did you watch the
DVD?
DVD?
What's the DVD? So backstage, but you can see all the thing, and you see Doink in his gear backstage.
Oh,
They're all there. They're
pissing in a bucket.
each other.
He's Doink pissing in a bucket.
No, he's fully dressed, thankfully. But all of them right there, there's like the monitor. So I think you see Bart Gunn as well, just sat there watching.
Kayfabe is dead.
Because Mean Gene's actually interviewing. He gets an interview with Shawn. They just see Perfect, but Perfect beats up Diesel. Then the two fighting, and you see all the Pat and Slaughter.
Well, of course, I mean, at the moment Vince saw Diesel, he was no longer interested in Shawn. Let's face it.
Look at him.
Bastard.
Shawn got suspended not long after this.
Because he came back to fight, to replace another man who got suspended. Which we'll get to.
I'm glad that they picked Survivor Series. That was the next choice.
It might annoy you later on with my opinion on a later match, but when you have expectations of a match, it does sometimes cloud your vision. So this is probably one of the better matches we watch, but because I expected it to be really good, it didn't feel that special.
Yeah.
There's a match later on that I thought was going to be really, really, really terrible. That because it wasn't quite as terrible as my mind had it wasn't
really
as bad.
Confused by which one you mean.
I think I can guess which one.
What's up next?
You text cheat. I think on paper it works better, but I hadn't actually thought about it, but I think it's a valid point to say that when you've got two bumpers in there and heaters, they don't all. It's no guarantee that they're going to.
That's why Brett had better matches with them than this match.
And I do think
Brett's a better fall for both of them.
Because he's more of a wrestler than bumpers. So
Definitely.
you need different styles sometimes.
And I don't like the count out for the champion to win. I don't really understand that. I would have preferred Shawn to just go over Perfect and get the rub if you're going to give him the win. I suppose all this is really doing is putting over Diesel as a threat outside.
Yeah.
Well,
you could have just had a distraction, Diesel. You could have had him throw it into the steps and throw it back in.
you could have had Diesel get in and powerbomb him and win like that.
Yeah, that was for sure. Still lying on
I
it.
think they probably did this to try and
Protect
help Perfect a little bit and a future match if they want one.
So I
Possibly,
think
but
they do some house show runs with this, I think.
Yeah, I just think if you're going to protect Perfect at this point, because Perfect's still a higher level talent, just don't book him with Sean. Because Sean's on that arc, he's going to run.
But who would you book? Who would you book? Sean and Duggan had their Raw run. I think they've already done that on this.
Yeah, for me it was not great. Jack?
Yeah, I thought it was, I do think you have higher expectations when you see this match, and then when you actually watch it, it is worse, like you say. So that does cloud your judgment of it being worse than you think it is. But I think it was a decent match, and it was all really designed to get Diesel over, which it did. So
Yeah, so in that sense,
was it an IC title match? Probably not.
You're probably right there.
Yeah, it lowered my expectations a bit. Because obviously I've now that I've seen it before, but all I can think of is Brett should be fighting either of these.
Yeah, you'd rather watch a Brett's match.
Brett v. Shawn or Brett v. Perfect to be the king of the ring match.
Where's
Brett
Ludvig?
Perfect. Better than the Summerslam.
Oh God, Ludvig Borga. Yeah. So our next, this backstage segment. I wish we would have had like the version where this was cut out.
I hear you, but we ought to lock the doors because Perfect's on his way. Let me tell you something. I found somebody in the same boat that I'm in. This is my first pay-per-view. 1, 2, 3, kid. This is your first pay-per-view. I admit I'm a little nervous. What about you?
Oh, God, Joe, I know this is your first pay-per-view, but for me, I'm getting in there with the IRS. He's one of the top wrestlers in the World Wrestling Federation today, and, the butterflies are coming in my stomach, I know I'm real excited to be out there, and this is a chance of a lifetime for me, but God, I'm just so nervous I can't even talk.
Well, Erwin R. Shyster, IRS, he's bigger, he's stronger, but then again, most everybody you take on is bigger and stronger.
Yeah, you're exactly right about that. Everyone that I get into the ring with has a size advantage on me. But I'm just going to go out there, 110%. I'm going to throw caution to the wind, and hopefully I'll, be able to pull it off.
Wait, I'm being told that IRS is in the ring. This is it, kid. It's your time. Look, enjoy the moment.
Thanks, Joe. I better get out of here.
All right, 1, 2, 3, kid is heading on in. He's quiet, he's shy, but folks, he is a hero. Back to you, Vince.
So we go backstage to this sad, depressing interview. It's Joe catching up with the 1, 2, 3 kid. Basically, they put over that this is both of theirs sort of pay-per-view debut for the company. I think that's probably why.
Yeah, I think it is.
Yeah. 1, 2, 3 Kid starts by calling IRS one of the top wrestlers in the WWF. So start all the promos with a lie.
I agree.
Piss off! He loves what IRS.
I do actually quite like IRS.
What is wrong with you? Is it drunk? What is wrong with you?
He loves it.
He loves a bloke who takes money off.
He hates Dolph Ziggler and he loves IRS. The work rate. He says that he's nervous, but he's going to give it 110%. And then Joe puts him over as the quiet, shy. And then he calls him a hero? He's a hero? Piss off.
Hero.
He knows that for him. I can't believe.
Little tiny taxi.
I can't believe how pathetic this made 1, 2, 3 Kid look. This promo was... It wasn't like a bad promo. He said what they probably gave him to say.
Yeah.
But he looked like a fucking little bitch. That's what he looked like.
Gimmick though, Buzz, plucky underdog.
But you can't give as much. At least
make him look a bit more dweeby than
at least don't like IRS. At least just put over that I don't like that tax.
I love avoiding taxes.
I've never paid my taxes. I'm not old enough.
But in the ring, don't worry. Joe interrupts to tell him, hang on, we got IRS in the ring.
IRS is cutting his own promo.
He says one line, which is basically, Detroit should be called the tax cheat city.
Yes. You said that last week!
Why are you sweaty already?
Smiley, happy kid having fun. IRS and the 1, 2, 3 Kid. We get a big pan shot of the crowd as 1, 2, 3 Kid hits a spinning heel kick onto IRS. Or if you're Eric Bischoff, it's a jumping back kick. At this point, as you correctly said, IRS wipes his sweat off his brow. He's literally just took a spinning heel kick and he's fucked.
He's fucked. You know, kid. He's very sweaty.
Oh, God.
Them shirts.
He dumps the kid on his chest, but a second attempt means that he eats a drop kick to the face. IRS waffles him, as Bobby Eaton calls it, so the kid falls outside. There's a quick roll up, which gives the kid hope, but IRS gets a 2 on an elbow. The heel rope work on a stretch, but Tim White catches it on the second attempt. IRS then gets a chin lock as the crowd starts a very tentative 1, 2, 3 kid chant. One day, Jet Sam, I'm going to ask you to rank your top 10 IRS chin locks.
Well, there's that one against Razor at the Rumble.
The kid hits some nice kicks and teases a moonsault. Oh, God, this really pissed me off, this did. So it was put over the moonsault as a killer move for the 1, 2, 3 kid. He hits the moonsault, and just like fucking, what was his name? Fandango. His move doesn't fucking pin him. Kicks him out, kicks out at 2. IRS kicks out at 2.
Big star.
Jesus. Quick near falls on some roll-ups. The kid and kicks, but he's suckered in and hit with the right off, I think is his maneuver. And the match is done. I like WWE desperately trying to keep the brain scan relevant as we see him spell out 1044, which I think is a
tax things in America.
US.
He couldn't really do P60. Oh, real. What work would he do?
I like how that was the moment, they say, believable. How's he supposed to draw a P?
We don't pay our taxes over here, they're done for us.
Jack.
Yeah, this is the moment in the pay-per-view where I thought, whoa, this is bad. Because I know, why is IRS screwing over? Why is he giving over 1, 2, 3 kid? We're trying to build this plucky underdog who wins. And he can't beat IRS, who's already dead.
Well, in fairness, I mean, from here,
IRS lasts another 2 years.
Yeah, IRS is art. He's fighting a Taker Mania match. But is
Rumble
match, sorry. He gets an IC title. He wins the IC title, isn't it?
At Raw Rumble 94.
Yeah. So,
but he's shit.
He is shit. He's so sweaty.
The gimmick suits Ted, but he's so in a different era of wrestling now, where it's different now.
This is what I'm saying.
Got to change a bit.
This is the claws of the Hogan era, desperately digging itself into the 1, 2, 3 kids, which is obviously a new generation sort of gimmick. I don't think that blended well. I think that they both probably did what they asked them to do. IRS was ground and pound, and he did connect well with the clothesline. And 1, 2, 3 kid. 1, 2, 3 kid did all his fast-paced stuff. But I agree with you, the booking of the match is fucking terrible. It's
I am saying he's a bad worker because he ain't. But I never care about the gimmick. And in trying to get 1, 2, 3 kid over, has got more upside going forward. And you've had him beat by IRS, and he's kicked out of his finish.
The rebooking of the IRS gimmick is got to be one of the hardest things you would ever have to do, because it is so...
Look out for mine.
It is so difficult to do, isn't it? Because it is... All he can, in fairness to Mike Rotundo, all he can do is come out and call people cheats. That's all he can do.
He even did it over here the year before.
I think IRS works better with slower wrestlers. But if you are going to work him with a 1, 2, 3 kid, it should have been a quick shock win and keep him on that arc.
Yeah, I agree with that. I didn't mind the match, but that's just me to piss yourself up. And as I do like IRS. He is my guilty pleasure.
God, he is the guiltiest of punches in IRS.
Well, my guilty pleasure is coming up next as we get interviewed by Todd. Again,
no, everyone loves Bruce.
Oh, God. Owen Hart.
Bruce, it should have been me.
Owen Hart actually wrestled in the dark match on this event. He fought Barry Horowitz.
Did he? Did he wear that attire?
That's what I mean. He wore
his boots, his cowboy boots and big back
Why has he got cowboy boots? It's Michigan. And you fucking Canadian. You freak.
Bloody
I like the fact that they've got a colour scheme going on.
Yeah.
The beige and black attack.
Oh,
Not
God.
quite a Brett Nadville.
I don't know whether Vince was working out which one of these was going to go on to have the summer long feud with Brett the year after. But
And Brett was going, I'll win.
I'm standing by with Bruce and Owen Hart. Stu and Helen Hart were supposed to be in attendance tonight. Bruce, where are they?
My dad just got out of hospital. He had major reconstructive knee surgery after an accident that happened down here a couple of weeks ago involving that idiot Jerry Lawler.
The vitriolic attacks on the Hart family continue by Jerry Lawler. Owen, what exactly happened to your dad?
Well, you know, Todd, we're sick and tired of Jerry Lawler and all of his dirty tactics. My mother and father came down on Monday Night Raw. Jerry Lawler insulted them. While my dad was leaving, he was kind of shaken. He twisted his knee, had surgery on his kneecap. He's at home recovering right now. But believe me, Jerry Lawler, my mother and my father are watching. They're giving Brett 100% support. Bruce and I are here representing Brett, and we're going to make sure that Bret Hart rules #1.
The Hart family represented in the brothers. Thank you very much, guys. Let's go back to the squared circle and Howard Finkel.
Well, Bruce fills us in that Stu Hart is not here. He says he isn't here. Oh, I love this explanation. He says he isn't here because Jerry Lawler insulted him on Raw and he fell over. It's basically it.
He took a bump. I think actually what happened is, because I think this might have been near Slamboree 93 where they did the Legends and Stuart was on that and he actually did fall and break his leg on that show.
Oh, so they just
So basically they said Lawler did it, but really you can watch WCW team actually do it.
Oh, I don't know that.
Yeah.
Bret Hart, he keeps us waiting on his appearance.
Yeah, I thought, is this DVD broke?
Yeah,
Where's Brett?
Yeah, I thought something was going to happen with that. Like Lawler was going to come out and do something, but he just I ain't ready yet, Vince.
Apparently, though, he was always late, wasn't he?
Yeah.
But that was one of the
He just
stories.
turned up. Here on.
Get your glasses on and get out. Bobby suggests Bruce played the banjo in the movie Deliverance, which I thought was brilliant. Jerry Lawler is out wearing a comedy ice pack on his knee. He hobbles out on crutches. Todd interviews him. Lawler tells us that an old lady pulled out on his rental car. He had to pull himself out of a fiery wreckage. And he defied doctor's orders and came here to beat Brett with one leg. But the doctors in the back have instructed him he can't wrestle tonight. But he does introduce his replacement, his self-appointed court jester, Doink, the evil clown.
Yes.
Evil Doink is out with a bucket and cigar. Oh, fucking brilliant.
Two
Why did
buckets.
you kill this bastard gimmick?
Give him a midget.
Stupid!
This bad needs a midget.
Ah, just unbelievable.
That he got fired for drugs. So who else is going to play heel Doink?
Did he play face Doink? No,
I think he
briefly,
did
didn't
turn it, but he did get fired
He's
for drugs after.
perfect
So.
appeal, so
Yeah, but
good.
this bloke, who he replaced in this match, he didn't get fired. And there was something very suspect.
He can't have Doink on commentary.
Doink me the time.
I would love that. So I just want Doink versus the Miz in the feud.
We've never fought at WrestleMania.
Doink me cold. How long has this clown been here?
He comes out with two buckets. One has confetti, which he legitimately throws over the crowd. And then the other, which I think...
I don't think they told him. I don't think they told him.
Amazing.
They must have told Owen or Owen
I
knew.
loved
Bruce
how
did not
fucking
get
angry he was.
Bruce is brilliant.
Absolutely pissed off when the water gets tossed over him. He's so pissed off. It's brilliant. What a start. Brett clotheslines Doink for the outside as the ref awesomely has to calm down. Very upset.
What a man. Brilliant at selling it.
There's something else that happens later. I think.
Oh, yeah.
Brett dominates the early going, knocking him inside and out. He wishbones him on the top turnbuckle before dumping him on his face. Brett teases going after Lawler, which allows Doink to jump in from behind. Doink then face plants Brett onto the steps outside. Then Doink begins his work over the leg of Bret Hart with a drop toe hold. Doink then, I think he locks in an STF as well.
Yeah, he does.
John Cena!
No big grey tongue though.
Doink then hits a knee to the gut of Brett. Doink then locks in a unique leg extender using his
Stump puller.
Is that
Yeah,
what it's called?
that's what it's called.
Yeah,
Stump
yeah.
puller.
Brilliant.
I think that was his other finish.
Yeah, he
wasn't it?
used to do it as a finish on jobbers. Like.
I love that. I think it's a brilliant move. This obviously builds to his main move, which is going up high and setting up the whoopee cushion.
Pat Patterson named it that. It used to be called the Bombs Away because what's his name's dad did it. So he used to do it. But they say, well, for a clown, what should we call it?
Big Josh.
Bigger Josh. Bigger Josh used to do the Bombs Away. He did it as Big Josh. But then they say, well, what can we call it? And that's when Pat just said, like the whoopee cushion because of the noise it made.
Oh, brilliant.
So he said, that's what you can do.
But Brett gets his knees up. Brett goes through his repertoire now, hits a Russian leg sweep, the Brett rope elbow, and the sharpshooter. Lawler, though, is in and he cracks Brett with his crutch, which instantly sets off Bruce, who dives into the ring, or tries to, whilst Lawler works over Brett with a broken crutch. He and Doink head up the aisle, but out comes
Jack Tunney.
Funny Jack Tunney.
Yes. Everybody loves Jack Tunney.
With his cronies, fucking hell, he bought the army day.
Well, I don't know. Where's always a bit late for it?
He had a bloody line of them.
Pat, the chief.
Yeah, that was all out.
With Slaughter around.
Wurzel was out, Slaughter was out,
Tony Gurria.
Tony Gurria was out. Someone really cheered when they saw Tony Gurria.
Lanza probably.
Yeah, Lanza was definitely there.
You could just see Chief though with him.
Yeah.
You bugger up in the.
Yes, basically the match must continue, or if Lawler refuses, he's banned for life. What does that mean?
That would save WF a lot of hassling, member.
They could have explained the next pay-per-view instead of just following through with that.
He's banned, do you?
So, Bret Hart beats the living shit out of Lawler. He clocks him with a bucket and then headbutts him. He bites away at his head and then hits a nice backdrop. It's not a nice snap leg drop and a headbutt to the groin. Bret then uses the crutch, which Bobby correctly says, well, that should be a DQ. But, yeah, that's true. Lawler manages to get the crutch, though, and lays into Bret himself. He chokes him on the outside with it. Vince suggests he's never seen anything like this in the WWF. Bloody hell. Lawler starts to do some great heel work, distracting the ref and continuing to use the crutch. Bret starts to battle back, though, and he drops the strap himself. His repertoire is started again. He hits a backbreaker into a 2, followed by a pile driver, Bret rope elbow, and Bret confuses Kings with Emperors doing the thumbs up and thumbs down. Apparently that's what Kings do. Lawler taps out to the sharpshooter, but Bret refuses to break the hold. Official after official after official after a Lanza after a Gurria after a Patch after a Goulet.
I think Pat's the only one who can talk him off.
Apparently, though, there is some story that they were pushing Bret down to try and put more pressure because no one liked Lawler.
No one liked Lawler, and I think Bret did try and hurt him because of what he was saying about during the promos.
Yeah.
So he's got
real.
It's fucking work.
Yeah, tell Bruce.
I think Owen's the only one that kind of got it.
I like how Bobby Heenan kills kayfabe by reminding us that there's 20 men in that ring at one point.
Yeah,
pull him off.
It's a bit over the top.
Yeah, Sulky Bret, Bruce, and Owen in leather trousers and cowboy boots are in, and they plead with Bret, who lets go after a few minutes. Bill Alfonso, who is the ref, reverses the decision and awards the match to Jerry Lawler via DQ, who is now the undisputed king of the WWF, thus rendering the whole pay-per-view worthless. Lawler is rolled out, but Bret gets some more punches in, and the best shot of the night is Bruce doing a little belly flop from the apron onto Lawler. Absolute chaos.
You ain't going to fire me.
There is a nice bit of kayfabe and shot of Lawler holding up one finger high as he's carried out. I mean, it's really good storytelling. The matches were fine. The Lawler one I would have done away with the crutch. I think it could have just been Bret beat the living shit out of Lawler rather than getting him any eats because he didn't need it. And the Doink match could have probably gone on a few more minutes to work out to really legitimately put over Doink as a credible, top star. Yeah. But it was fine for what it was. You probably could have cut the shenanigans afterwards down by a minute or two, but it was all story and it kind of worked. I wasn't that offended by it. Sam?
I really liked it. I like both matches, to be honest. As you said, maybe just having beat the crap out of Lawler, have Lawler get no offence at all.
Yep.
You still have the reverse of the decision because obviously this storyline's going to carry on for another 2 years. So you got to keep him hot.
It's led to the lost box this season.
It did. Well, we saw that it led to Isaac Yankem in '95.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So, yeah, and the Doink match was really good because Doink is a good word. Well, that Doink is a good word.
Oh, yeah.
Heel
Doink.
Doink.
Apollo.
Yeah.
Fucking Ray Apollo.
Apollo. It's a very colourful match as well when you look at it.
It's very colourful.
Very colourful.
Except for Bruce.
Except for Bruce.
Who's very beige.
A little red. Wet and beige. But I liked it. The story worked as well.
Jack?
Yeah, the matches are very, very, very good, as you would expect, because it is Brett, and he doesn't have that many bad matches. Doink is very good, deserved a lot better. Don't turn his face, for fuck's sake. And then the Lawler, you could have done away with him getting any offense, I agree with that. But he works his style, he gets the heat, he knows how to get heat. He's very good, very underrated. And at the end, the sharpshooter took a bit too long and too many people for my liking.
Just send Pat.
We'll just send 5 or 6, there's 20 people.
No, when Danny Davis at one point was literally tearing his head.
And they went, whoa, don't do that. Because that's going to make us look fucking shit.
Yeah, you all look very weak.
It just ruins them all a little bit. And but, I mean, Bruce Hart, what a man. We've got to do more of Bruce because he is a man. He is a tornado of a man.
He's
I'm going to go out.
And
Vince will tell him, this is what I want from you, and he's going to go out and he's just going to do anything to get himself over.
I'm going to wear sunglasses as a referee. I don't give a shit. I'm just fucking Bruce Hart.
I'm going to step on Vince.
There's so few people that you can get so much joy from taking themselves as serious as Bruce Hart. He's so believed. I want him to write an autobiography.
Yeah,
and
I think
he has.
Yeah.
Did he win? Did it always end with needless to say? Needless to say. Needless to say, I got the last laugh.
Well, he wanted to fight Brett.
Yeah, Brett Owen was going to be Brett Bruce. And I think Vince considered it.
And then
Brett was the one that said no.
Yeah.
And then you've got him all.
What about Keith?
Yeah.
Then he never thought that you'd find a Hart that takes himself more seriously than Brett. And then Bruce comes along.
Oh my
Thank God for Owen.
Unbelievable. So
Owen gets it.
We are in dilapidated America somewhere. It's Ludvig Borga.
I'm going to show you all exactly where Lex Luger is going to try to win the World Wrestling Federation Championship. Right here in the middle of the American dream. Well, keep on dreaming, Lex Luger, because if this is what you stand up for, if this is what you're proud of, these crumbling buildings, this filth, this pollution, and I bet the Lex Express never stopped here on its way to Summerslam. So Lex Luger, look at this. This building is crumbling like America is crumbling because you American high school dropouts are signing this country away welfare check by welfare check. And you people call this the land of opportunities? Well, I'm gonna take my opportunity to show all you so-called American wrestlers and Marty Jannetty tonight at SummerSlam what Ludvig Borga is all about.
He shits on America and says that the Lex Express never stopped here. Why would it? There's no one there.
What should have happened is, he was in the background of the alley with me. You should have saw it. Never stop. There it is.
He says America is crumbling as the high school kids drop out and sign on, and they're ruining America.
Sign on?
Yeah. He ends the promo warning he'll show America and Marty Jannetty what he's about tonight.
Is it not American?
I don't know. I honestly don't know.
I don't know what he's doing.
I don't think Marty knows what he is anyway.
Well, he's still rocking the gimmick as he comes out. He looks like he's chasing the ref as well. That's what I love, because the referee is
Give me my bro. You gotta sit on your brother.
Yes.
Spell him on you, brother.
Ludvig walks out looking like a killer, but to the farty Finland national
Yeah,
anthem.
because it is actually there. That's like
Yeah, it's the weirdest.
Well, I think they've
juxtaposed.
changed it slightly. It's a bit more.
It's just weird. Like, can you imagine Brock walking out to like the bloody Finland
It's ain't
national
like
anthem?
Yoko with the serene chop.
It's different.
It's no.
He's a killer.
You want a heavier theme.
It's strange. Ludwig jumps Giannetti and lays in uppercuts, which Marty, oh Jesus, I mean he jumps every time he hits.
Jump and spin.
Yeah, it's fantastic.
You, Mr. Perfect, you are not.
He lays him out
I
with a
don't think
clothesline.
Perfect had done that for Borg.
He lays him out with the clothesline before a knee lift in the corner. There's a nice flapjack and another rib shot on the way down. Bobby, he's working overtime to put Ludvig Borga over here. I mean, they obviously. Well, they've decided this guy's going from 0 to 60. Just fucking put him over every time you say anything. So much so that there's a sign in the crowd already that says Ludwig's hate section, which I assume is a play on Ludvig. So the crowd hate him. That evil Finnish bloke.
Finland ever done?
They hate him.
I don't really understand the Marty Jannetty can't take him off his feet spot, but whatever. He eats a clothesline. Bobby sows the seeds of Tatanka versus Ludwig with the undefeated streaks of both men, which Vince correctly says, well, he's only been here a week. So, yeah. Bear Hug is locked in and Marty fades. He struggles back and breaks free before taking a clothesline inside out. Marty hits a series of super kicks, but is caught on a crossbody into a slam, and Ludwig locks in the torture rack, and the match is called off.
You know what that was called? His version of the torture rack.
I dread to think with his tattoo.
Finisher.
Was it?
Yeah.
Fuck
Yeah. Because he's finished.
Yeah. That is actually what it was called.
That is
Finisher.
That's fantastic.
I don't know that.
That's fantastic. Ludwig, Sam.
Yeah, he is what he is. You remember him.
Don't blame me.
Don't blame me, though.
That should have been his
He's
the encyclopedia.
Very short run. And there was a rumour of him winning the belt. And I think he was going to beat Taker for it at Maine.
No.
He's going to end the streak.
No. Yeah. I think there was rumour of him beating Taker. I don't know if it was going to be at either the Rumble or at Mania, but he was going to beat
Taker up to heaven.
But Borga was going to fight him. They did plan on putting the belt on him, and then he knackered his ankle and they just fired him. Apparently he was a dick.
He was going to put the belt in, but he got injured, so we'll fight.
And apparently he'd swear in Finnish, but because nobody understood it, he just kept doing it on telly.
I think he was probably one that sort of took himself a bit too serious as well, in all honesty.
Well, because was he a boxer or MMA
yeah,
fighter?
proper MMA fighter.
I
didn't actually hate the match. I think as a dominant sort of performance.
He's in Die Hard or one of them films, ain't he? He plays a cop.
Does he?
Yeah.
It's brilliant.
Ludvig Borga is in films. Look it up.
I thought Giannetti sold as well as Giannetti can sell. The punches looked more effective than they probably should have. I do like the torture rack as a finish. The juxtapose with
Luger.
The fact that he was going to be fighting Luger as well helps. The ending was good.
Do you think it'd have been better putting Kid against Borga?
Possibly, but I don't think Giannetti was really offensive as an option.
Not offensive.
Yeah.
Wait till 2020.
Yeah. More like Billy Gunn versus Kenzo Suzuki.
Oh, fuck me.
Jack, what's your thoughts
on this match?
Yeah.
That's crap. It's crap. Look, Borga is not ready for anything. He should be nowhere near a ring because he cannot work. And then Marty Jannetty is too big for me to do the job.
I don't know.
He needs to change. He needs to change it all. Fuck me.
Oh, Marty does. I mean, why did they not have any plan what they was going to do with Marty Jannetty after Shawn? I mean, I do get that that's the sort of trope in it when you leave you have the face bloke who still is
hangs on.
Yeah, but this is 1993. It happened 2 years ago, Marty. You're still coming out to your theme with him. You might as well have a little picture of Shawn with a heart.
Well, you like Roman because he still come out to the Shield for ages.
Well, exactly, and it weren't until he took his top off that people thought, hang on a minute,
Has had a goal.
I like him now.
But I hated it. Borga's awful, clunky. I don't give a shit about Ludvig Borga. And then Marty Jannetty. Marty Jannetty can't sell right to make anybody look good.
He does smile a lot, though.
I read 4 lines of notes, and I paused this match 3 times. And I couldn't get through it. I was so
you got to this point, it broke you.
I did have to get up and walk off a little bit and come back.
This was the shortest match.
I know.
I'm going to say, wait, and you didn't pause the next match.
Oh, God.
I can get through that.
I must admit, I didn't hate it as much as you did.
I did.
It was what it was.
It was what it was at the time. You was getting Borga over, and in all honesty, Jannetty ain't doing anything.
But why are we getting Borga over?
Yeah, there is better people on that.
Because it's America, and we need another foreigner.
The fans don't care, though.
You've got a
The
bloke
fans
in a
will
minute.
care, damn it.
You've got a bloke in a minute who shoved in a nonsense 6-man tag that would have been a more credible opponent for Luger.
But
then
Samu.
Yeah, but you know what I mean. There's a lot more credible people, and Ludwig just looks like he doesn't give a shit. That's the thing.
I don't think he did.
Yeah, he just
Well,
obviously.
as I say, he did have an SS tattoo, and they said, "Whoa, you've got to cover that up."
Yeah. Even then,
But still, I
you cover that up. It was a weird attire as well, to be honest.
He just didn't. Everything was confusing about Ludwig. Why have we got to care about Finland? Are you like
Are you a happy man?
environmentalist? Do you fight as MMA? Everything was just a bit weird.
He was
But
actually a politician in Finland as well, or he for like the right wing.
I do think
it's like the Nigel Farage in Finland.
He could have come around at any time, and he probably would have always been one of them that they thought we could do something. There's not a moment. But he just
look at him.
Yeah,
he looks good, but the minute he goes into motion, you then have to say,
as soon as he moves,
you can't walk. So what's the point?
He wrestles like a warthog.
Yeah, but well, he'll probably still be in the Hall of Fame.
No chance. Not a chance unless he's inducted by Coco. There's not a chance.
When they want to crack Finland,
well, I don't know. They're cracking India, so they've put Carter
Not
in.
a chance. I'd let Finland go. I wouldn't bother. Just
got to the Euros and burying everything.
Yeah. Speaking of
Good luck,
Carly, we do get our last reminder that Mean Gene exists as he narrates the Survivor Series 1993 package, and the Fink gives us the rules to the Rest in Peace match. You ready? It's no DQ, it's no count out, and there must be a decisive winner.
It's just a match.
It's just a match. That is no DQ. Yeah. Thanks, Fink.
That's Rest in Peace.
John Gonzalez is out, and he's actually got a boomy bongy theme. I didn't realise he had a theme.
Yeah, he did have a theme. That was his theme all the time.
It's basically just boom, boom, boom. It's really weird.
Yeah.
I do like there ain't
some weird thing.
There ain't many
He's from
people.
Argentina.
Yeah, he's from Argentina. There is.
How come they're taking the Argentinian national? Put that on there and see if it fits.
Should have been managed by Messi, shouldn't he? Or
Maradona. Don't put Maradona and Martin Jannetty in the same room. Two men go in, one comes out alive.
The pairing of Gonzalez and Harvey, though, I mean, it puts over Gonzalez. I mean, he's fucking massive, isn't he?
Massive anyway.
Absolutely massive. Undertaker actually enters to darkness. I think this must have been one of the first few times that they did it, and it obviously raised his arm, which does pop the crowd. But
I think that was the first time he did it.
Was it?
I think it was.
He is missing the pallbearer. There's no pallbearer.
Still ain't chiseled him out that concrete.
Is it carbonite?
Take
Take a chop, Tom.
Darth Taker.
Taker chops and chokes Gonzalez in the corner. I ain't even going to have to tell anyone about Gonzalez's selling of anything. Taker tries to take the Giant down with clotheslines, but gets stopped on a third attempt. We get the sit-up by Taker, but he's tossed to the outside. It's hard to explain just how big and bulky Gonzalez is. Because he's massive, and he's just so big. His head is like twice the size of Taker's. It's just unbelievable how big he is.
Legit 7'4", or 5 or
something like that.
He's just fucking massive.
He's ridiculously tall.
Yeah.
He tosses, or I say he tosses. I mean Taker tosses himself into the steel steps. The Giant cracks Taker with a steel chair for some reason.
Hit him with chair shots.
And then
I forgot that bit. Oh my god, the chair.
Taker then takes his knee bump to the steps as well, which allows Gonzalez to get in the ring and press L2 and do his taunt.
Can you imagine if Gonzalez took them knee bumps? You wouldn't be.
No
He'd be going, oh, cool, you're up there.
Never ran.
That hurt his shit.
Jerk me ankle.
Well, his knees are necking already. I can't feel anything.
Taker crawls towards the urn, which has been stolen. Oh, who would have thought of that, eh? Who would have thought to steal that urn?
There's a lot of overlap with these two ones.
The selling of Gonzalez. I mean, he's like a cartoon, isn't he? He does anything.
Whoa! You just need like stars going around his head. It's like you wait for a Mortal Kombat fatality. Finish him. Whoa, fucking hell.
There's a big Irish win, and I'm sure that the Giant Gonzalez now says, "Who is rest in peace now?"
Smash. Who's rest in peace now?
He's doing so much.
I missed the word in.
I'm sorry. I saw him shouting, but I couldn't get it.
Oh dear. We hear the gong, and the crowd pop like shit for this. Paul Bearer with a black wreath. Just random black wreath.
He bought flowers.
Do you know what had happened? Had he been written off? Because they made it out like he'd come back from the dead.
Yeah, because I think what had happened, because it was before King of the Ring with Mr. Hughes, because he was the one that had the urn. Them two did beat up Taker and Bearer, and they did keep hitting Bearer with the urn, so they did write him off.
Okay.
And I think Taker must have been took off for a little bit.
Did Mr. Hughes put over Taker?
Yeah.
I'm assuming he didn't win the match.
Yeah.
No, he never won the match.
No, I don't.
Yeah.
He got put over Taker, that's why Taker were King of the Ring.
And then he fucked off, so he won the feud.
Yeah, he did. I think he did leave after this. That's why Whippleman's got it. Because on that unreleased DVD, there is a tag match, a dark match between Mr. Hughes and Gonzalez with Perfect and Savage.
Let's take
I think it was having his summer holiday.
Fuck me. Poor Taker. He got some shit there.
Oh, he deserved.
Oh, he did. I think after 95, after the Bundy thing, he was like, right, I've had enough of this crap.
No, Mick Foley, down here now.
Jimmy Brett.
I'm not having it anymore.
He allowed Cobber because he's his mate. So he'll allow that.
We won't.
What? I don't know, Bundy.
It's really nice though to see Paul Bearer hit a clothesline on Harvey outside. Amazing. Paul grabs the urn, raises it up, which causes Taker to sit up.
He gets a pop.
He does. Big chops and clotheslines. The Giant Gonzalez staggers but won't fall down. Taker goes up.
If a Gonzalez falls in the forest and no one's allowed to see it, does he take a bump?
Well, Taker goes high. He hits a top rope clothesline and Gonzalez does bump. And he is also covered and done. That is Gonzalez.
I think that's Taker's default finish for I can't pick you up for a chokeslam or tombstone. I will fly clothesline you.
Didn't look that impressive either, did it really?
No.
Afterwards, the wreath is placed by Giant Gonzalez. As Vince tells us, now we know what a rest in peace match is. No, we don't.
Ain't like JR's call him. We may have just seen the first and the last. That's basically Vince going, well, we ain't doing that again.
We actually get a face turn for the Giants afterwards, as well as he.
He don't actually turn face. He's in a battle royal. He's still heel. It's just let's get rid of Whippleman.
This turn Whippleman.
Yeah, I think Whippleman goes without a bomb after.
I don't understand this.
No one does.
I will definitely say though,
it's better than this
this is the best Giant Gonzalez match.
Well, yeah. It is.
And it comes back to what I was saying earlier, when you have so low expectations.
Yes.
I actually thought this match was going to be really bad. And don't get me wrong, his selling's crap. He's very limited. He can hardly move. But Taker does his absolute all in this. And because you take away all the crap that happened at Mania with the rag and the bloody leaving and coming back and the green smoke and all that crap, and the Falcon or whatever he came in with, the bullshit. I think it was passable. If you take your cap off of I am a wrestling fan and just watch two blokes have a little scrap, it's passable.
Yes.
That's as
I
good
would
as
say
I
if you put this match at Mania, I don't think people have moaned as much.
Maybe
I think because of the rag.
Oh, God,
I think that might actually show this in this drink.
This instead. Yeah, just show this.
Don't care if SummerSlam, but it is better. Out of the two matches, and I think Taker did his all because he knew that this was the end of this feud, and he was moving on to his mate Yoko, who he wanted to fight. Because of that story that he did recently with Cora, when he saw Yoko, he goes, "Give me him," and Vince goes, No. Here's who you're facing. And it was Gonzalez. Because he really loved to fight Yoko when he was watching it. And he goes, oh, God.
Yeah, but he's very loyal, Taker.
Yes.
Yeah, it was better than what I expected, but that's because I had no expectations. And it is because of The Undertaker.
Yep.
And that's it, really. I mean, he's punch, kick outside, use as much as you can. Smoke and mirrors. Paul Bearer is amazing. He's over. Gonzalez can't do a choke slam, so that tells you how bad he is.
Oh, afterwards.
On
Harvey.
I think they try and do it to Alfonso at Mania or something. I'm sure he does it, but Alfonso tries to keep jumping up, and he's every time, so he's having to keep picking him back up.
I don't think he had any definition. I don't think he was a strong person. Was he?
He was a basketball player.
He was just a lanky,
athletic, but it don't look like he had any muscle definition.
No, I think that's why Vince put him in that body suit.
Well, yeah.
Because he saw his body. He goes,
well, he watched him in WCW and thought, fuck me, look at the state of him. Yeah. Still are you?
He's just fucking massive, isn't he? That's all it is. So, moving forward, another massive man is in the back. It's Cornette, Mr. Fuji, and Yokozuna.
I've been waiting all night long to talk to this entourage. We have the World Wrestling Federation champion, Yokozuna. We have his manager, Mr. Fuji, and their American spokesman, Jim Cornette. Cornette, you're already in the hole. Your heavenly body's lost to the Steiners. You're 0-1 tonight.
Let me tell you something, Hatchet Head. You need to sit down, take you a Valium, and just listen to what I got to say. First of all, it was a hometown decision. A referee from Detroit, Michigan, biased, prejudiced. The WWF's going to hear about this. Jack Tunney's going to hear about this. There were two Steiners in the ring. I could list infractions as long as Rick and Scott Steiner's police record. But we were ripped off, plain and simple. The heavenly bodies were not fairly defeated, and I'm going to be heard on this another day. But I guarantee you the same thing is not going to happen to the great Yokozuna.
We have had a night of surprises. Surprise number one, Jerry Lawler comes out on crutches. Then another surprise, Paul Bearer shows up out of nowhere. Might the next surprise be Lex Luger takes the belt?
I'll tell you the biggest surprise, your employment. Let me tell you something right now. Lex Luger, I want you to listen and listen good to my voice while you take a look at the last sight that you may ever see in your living life, brother. The great Yokozuna, the beast, the monster. You look in those eyes and like I've said before, you see no pity, you see no fear, you see no compassion for his fellow man. All you see is the intention to take you, Lex Luger, and rip you limb from limb. You throw your arms up, Lex Luger, when you get in that ring, and you draw the power of all those millions of Americans that you've touched hands with all across the call to action campaign. You draw that power from all of them, Luger, and you're still going to come up short. The auto workers in Detroit, the farmers in Kansas, and the common people all across America, they're going to give you their strength. And Lex Luger, it's not going to be enough, no matter how hard you fight, to take this big man down. We've waited a long time, and now the time for talking is over. The time for action has come, and brother, the last thing that you will hear tonight at SummerSlam of '93 is this. Banzai!
Cornette is furious about the tag match from earlier on and demands justice. Cornette says that he's surprised by Joe's employment.
We all are.
Yeah. He puts over evil Yoko, intending on hurting Luger tonight. He says all the power of the Americans will not be enough to take down Yoko, so they've replaced Hulkamaniacs or Hulksters with Americans now. Basically. These little Americans.
Lexomania don't work.
And Yoko rounds out.
Oh, my little Luger.
Yoko rounds out.
I got a gun.
A Luger?
Yeah, I had a gun.
Might be.
Is it?
Is it?
Yeah, that's a Luger gun, I think.
I bet it's quicker than him. And, Yoko gives
This one needs a bus.
Yoko gives us a bonsai to end the promo. Now, out next, Smoking Guns. And their tag team partner is Jack's favourite. It is Tatanka.
Cowboys and Indians.
Cowboys and Indians.
Oh,
The Islanders and Bam Bam.
I didn't know this match happened, so I was
This
confused.
match, I've got a feeling this match probably happened a lot on like Superstars.
I don't know why they needed to calm the crowd after the last match then. They didn't stand straight to the mate.
The line for the toilet is long. Get this match out.
I do love Bobby. The Shawn Michaels has left the building thing. He's such a good.
Oh, he always
gimmick.
did that.
Fantastic.
The Elvis kind of thing.
Yeah. I also love Afra and Luna. They have made.
Oh, that's brilliant. Afra's brilliant. We're just seeing Afra like good at the camera and stuff.
Fantastic. The heels just completely completely lay out the face
was
straight
the
away.
really start
Just
I've
a
ever seen.
bang!
We're going to get the crowd hot.
It's so strange. Bama shows his power, but eats a drop kick. Both men hit cross bodies at the same time and crash to the mat, which you can check out as saying exactly the same thing to Royal Rumble 94. Billy and Fatu make the tags, and Fatu lays into Billy, but gets front face
I've
bulldog.
got a feeling both of these will have run over Austin.
Oh, yeah. I hadn't even thought of that.
Yeah.
That's amazing. Vince, that's amazing.
Yeah.
Vince tells us that Billy.
Weird when you think of that.
And one of these is going to headline WrestleMania. Vince tells us that Billy went to school on a rodeo scholarship. Who come up with that?
What does that mean?
What a bot!
What's a
rodeo scholarship?
Well, a scholarship in America is you can get a basketball scholarship.
Yeah,
so,
sports.
yeah. But what college went? What we're really lacking is a really top rodeo athlete.
Somebody
who can ride a bull.
Yeah. Texas. It was all in Texas.
If rodeo scholarships exist, please get in touch, because I cannot believe that you can get to school in America by being thick as pig shit as long as you can ride a bull. It's unbelievable.
Or you might get someone by AEW.
Yeah, well, that's true. Billy is isolated and Affa lays in a shot on the outside. Samu does not give a shit and kicks Bart, who is in, and arm drags him
Mr.
around.
Brawl for all himself.
It's true. He fares little better and he's face planted. Bam Bam hits a drop kick, and Fatu, who Vince calls his Samu, gets a 2 count. The crowd start to rally for Bart as the heels are well on top, and they take quick tag teamwork. The heads of the head shrinkers are used, obviously, and the heat continues.
It's got to be used, damn it.
The heat continues to be dumped on Bart, who is cornered and worked over by the 3 heels. Bam Bam misses a splash, and Jack's favourite, Tatanka, gets the hat tag. He builds his chop offence and slams Bam Bam. Nightwolf, as I'm calling him, goes high and hits a top rope crossbody, which Samu is late to break up the pin on. This causes Tatanka to start
to do his whole
his skip up.
This always happens.
The skip up. I love it. But then, Bam Bam, fuck this, Inzaguri back in the air.
I think that happened at the Rumble as well.
He did, yeah.
So can you imagine if Wally was doing his Hulk up and Batman just kicked him in the back?
It's just brilliant.
Or Hogan shaking and Batman just going, fuck off.
Batman just went, fuck that. I'm not sitting here while you dance around me about
Stop prancing around.
It was amazing. And Bam Bam Bigelow, he's just so underrated. He's just so underrated. The Brett
Well, we
Rose...
saw him. Was it November to Remember? We saw him. He
saw
worked
him
most of the match.
but he's just so underrated. He also spits at the tanker on the floor, which was very heel.
Whoa, Vince is cutting me off for a bit. Looks like Doink.
They're going to do that now.
Brett
He
goes...
turned Doink face.
Samu goes for a Brett Rope headbutt for a 2. Match descends into chaos as Billy nearly has his head taken off.
Oh, yeah, I saw that. So, Jesus
Really?
Christ. They had to throw him outside. And even the figures go, whoa, you're all right,
not
Billy.
take that clothesline well. There's a triple headbutt by the heels, but they go up high for an attempt. All 3 of them miss. Tatanka moves out the way. The Guns take out Fatu and Bam Bam on the outside, whilst Tatanka inside rolls up Samu for the win. I'm going to save you, Jack. Sam?
It wasn't as bad a match as you say. Expectations, not really got that high expectations, really. But it wasn't. I always thought that the heels won for some reason. So it surprised me when Tatanka won.
Yeah, so he was getting undefeated.
That's true. Well, you can get bought. Yeah, that wouldn't count.
Had he not lost in tag teams or anything then? Is it No.
It wore too bad. And Bam Bam of the head trickers kind of carried the match. Billy Gunn was the best on the. Even though he didn't nearly kill himself.
I mean, it's probably again testament to Bam Bam, but I thought he worked really well with the edge shrinkers, like as a.
I think that's why they always put them together, like at Survivor Series. And then I thought we need a fat man in grey to complete the set.
I know Jack out of the 6 where he would rank Tatanka, and I think I probably would rank Tatanka there as well. But he was okay.
Yeah,
he was They probably used him well, and I thought Bart and Billy at this point they're on an upward trajectory.
And that at least a team that can work, as opposed to men on a mission.
It's probably a shame for all 6 men in many ways that it's such a throwaway match. But
it was like we've got these 3, we want them on the show. How can we get them on 6-man tag?
I weren't too offended, Jack.
Yeah, I liked it. I thought it was good, yeah. I thought it was a good 6-man.
Mark that down. That's the moment Jack said he liked it.
Bam Bam and the head shrinkers should have stayed together, really. That would have been a good team.
I like the fact that he got kicked in the head.
What, with his whole top?
In the comeback.
But the fact that Bam Bam did club him, he did an enziguri as well for a fat man.
But I think it was a good match, mainly because the heels obviously paced it, called it. And Bam Bam is obviously really good. The head shrinkers are underrated.
Definitely.
And the Smoking Guns, like you say, are on a trajectory. And Tatanka, he's got the undefeated streak, and he's the one that they're trying to push, so I understand. So
he's got to wait for Matt Hardy.
It did its job, and it did it well.
So we go to Joe, who's now on the bus with Hank Carter, who is the man who drove Frankie Lex Luger around America. Legitimately as well. He did actually go round in a bus.
Not all the time.
Well, he was on a bus at some point.
He was on a bus at some point.
Yeah, with Max and
it was Robert Gibson driving around.
He did have a lazy eye. He's
he was just like, fuck this, he's over with.
I can't believe that he's drove Lex around all this time and they bought him a fucking ticket.
Yeah, you gotta stay on this bus.
Stay in the bus, Hank. Somebody might steal it.
Here's your little telling away.
And I think again, this is just not reading the time, but the amount of he loves the kids and everyone. He saved a kid once. He was dying, and then he saw Lex, and he suddenly was better. It's just unbelievable how much they try and put on it. It made me hate Lex Luger more. This promo just did my head in. Todd, God.
With this
God,
typical yes, America.
Bruce McClare.
So yes, Todd has got his arm around some kid.
Excuse me.
It is absolutely wild here. Whoever said patriotism was dead should have bought a ticket to SummerSlam. What's your name?
Bruce McClure.
Bruce is one of the waves in the sea of red, white, and blue out here. Where you from, Bruce?
I'm from Wyandotte, Michigan.
Get a shot of this outfit. Now, what was the inspiration for this beautiful red, white, and blue toga?
My mom went to Sears and made me a bedspread, sheets, and a pillowcase. What the heck? Make me an outfit.
You look great, my friend. USA! The crowd is going crazy. The action is hot and heavy here at SummerSlam.
Apparently his name is Chris. I've got Chris. Have you got Bruce?
I got Bruce McClare.
It could be Bruce McClare.
Man in sheet.
Man in bed sheet.
Yeah. He's basically in a red, white, and blue toga, which he says his mom made out of some bed
Why did he make it the French flag?
He did, yeah, he looked like a French flag.
And he
Are
looks,
you French?
he looks,
You tickle French.
he looks absolutely ridiculous. And I understand at this point why Mean Gene is leaving, because he ain't winning that. There is no chance
I'm not going into the
fucking
Call them 1-800. No, 900.
I'm just going to put my arm around woman. And,
I'm going to look up Missy Elliott.
So, Bobby suggests that the person that Joe interviewed is actually Jimmy Carter, the former president of America. And the Fink asks for some respect. Oh, God. As the Japanese man sings the Japanese national anthem.
Was that one of the Orient Express, the flag bearer?
Ikeo, yeah, he was the one.
Is it Ikeo?
I can't remember his name.
Sakoda,
yeah.
Well, Sakoda was the one with Sajiri. Yeah, no, from the Orient Express. Tanaka and Saito Tanaka.
Saito.
No, well, Mr. C2. You know the beardy one. He actually
The one who
managed
took
Fukushi.
Yeah.
The
one who was in the Orient Express before Kato.
I thought his name was Akio, but I might be wrong.
I'm trying to think of the name. Somewhere in Tanaka.
Well, I'm not going to waste the time. But yeah, he was the flag bearer. He didn't sing the national anthem. The person who sang the national anthem couldn't sing. Let's face it, he was tone deaf for the Japanese singer.
His voice cracked at one
and
point.
the crowd booed the living shit and waved their little tiny flags.
Nothing like respect.
Yeah, oh God, I can't believe this. So Aaron Neville, who gets the big bill but no pop, is announced, and he's heading out with the Macho Man, Randy Savage.
This is what you're reduced to.
The world champion at SummerSlam 1992 is now coming out to be the MC of the main event. Yeah. Jesus. Macho Man gives Aaron Neville a bit of a better introduction, and then he sings the national anthem.
No, he breaths it.
And I literally laughed out loud when I listened to this.
I loved
Jack, when I was here last week, he just played it.
He did it in WCW.
Yeah, he did.
The year after.
Yeah, he did. He was in WCW and he did exactly the same.
Aaron Neville.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched was so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
I've never laughed so much. I am going to put it in.
You don't go up. It's very dead of me.
Is that what that's
Yeah, no, it's a countdown. You should have said that. You've ruined the finish.
He's amazing. It was this the best. It's the best version of the national anthem they've ever done.
I laughed out loud.
I really cheered me off from the fact they were of this shit.
See, I told you, raging for this. You had that big space and falling off a roof. I've got Aaron Neville.
Aaron Neville is your guilty.
So, the champion, Yoko, gets the first entrance.
Phil and Gary must be proud.
Is that the other two?
Oh,
Gary Neville.
Gary
Neville. Phil Neville.
I thought it was actually called Phil and Gary. I thought that's amazing.
Come on, Ben.
You caught me off guard then. Yoko, our champion, gets the first entrance, which I booed because I don't like that.
Yeah, I thought as soon as I heard that, I thought, oh, Ben's going to hate this.
I hate
champion's entrance. And I like the fact that Gomez had to walk behind them. Because I think he always said because of how old Fuji was at slow, and obviously because of Yoko being so heavy, he couldn't walk in front, because if he did, he'd be like in the ring before they get there. So he'd have to wait behind.
Vince McMahon is completely shocked by the Yoko Tuna. The Yoko Tuna sign.
Oh, the Yoko Tuna.
Yoko Tuna!
And there's that one woman who's got like the Japanese flag on a pig.
Yeah. Very racist. Randy Savage now has his
He's
MC
not Japanese, he's the Samoan.
Well, Randy Savage now has his MC duties as Stars and Stripes Forever plays, and Lex Luger gets the big reaction. West Bromwich Albion used to come out to Stars and Stripes Forever.
Did you?
So,
Yeah, we did.
Yeah, us and Lex Luger have a lot in common. We only win by
Did you have the Lex Express?
If we draw, balloons drop. Everything.
The Steiners come out with
Yeah.
a draw.
We got a point against Preston.
We used to come out to Stars and Stripes Forever. I don't know why.
What the fuck is wrong with
I
you?
assume it's the Stripes Forever, but and the Stars in Stripes Forever. I think was the idea behind it, because we were.
Anytime Ian Hamilton missed a penalty, Daniel Burgess would lift him up.
He tried. He had a good try.
We got a replay. Yes.
So yes, Lex Luger, West Bromwich Albion, lot in common. Our match.
Huge disappointment.
Yeah, Lex is in a wheelchair at the moment, and so is our club. There's a big standoff between Lex Luger and Yoko. Fuji, I don't know why it was Fuji and not Cornette. But he attempts to jump Luger, and Luger sort of goes.
I don't know if
There's
that was
some
planned.
stuff.
It made it look like that Luger didn't want to do it, so it's just like, I'm not going to sell this, so I'm going to catch it.
Yeah, it was all very weird.
There's like 2 seconds where they're all like, oh fuck, what are we doing?
Yeah.
Then Yoko goes,
But
oh,
before the ref got there and just looking at Fuji, I can see you coming in.
This match. He can't lay down Yoko. He escapes a leg drop attempt before kicking the middle leg into the well-protected bollocks of Yoko. There's a big elbow drop which gets our first near fall. Typical WWE booking, trying to put over someone as American means that you get a USA chant rather than a Lex chant. As Lex hits a clothesline in the corner and follows it with 10 of the best. The standard sort of Hogan build as the momentum for the face slows on a first body slam attempt. Everyone knows you don't slam him on the first time.
You've got to build up your meter.
Yeah, Lex is knocked to the outside and Yoko crushes him on a charge into the ring post. Yoko then goes for a chair and misses on a headshot. Both men already, and this got to be about 4 minutes in, fucked. Completely fucked.
Yoko, you can tell he's every breathing. When he did his taunt,
I
was like, you're shiny.
Yeah,
You're very sweaty.
The complete
IRS is brushing.
And then I looked at that was when I looked and I thought, Jesus Christ, there's about half hour left.
Yeah, but don't forget, about 20 minutes is the video.
Yeah, thankfully. Luger up high and he hits a double axe handle twice and a forearm smash on the third, knocks Yoko down, but only for a 2. Luger again gets a near fall on a clothesline to the back of the head and double clothesline by both men so they can have a sleep in the middle. Luger gets his back raked and belly to belly by Yoko. Vince is full on. 1, 2, he got him! Oh, chap! Oh, Jesus. And Bobby, I think even Bobby's like, he fucking didn't! Stop saying it, you bastard! I'm getting fed up here. Yoko does only get a 2 though. Yoko bounces Luger around on the ropes and gets another near fall. Now we get this standard. Yoko's called the spot where he needs a breather. He's going to just hold your shoulder for a bit.
Yeah.
Nerve hold. Luger finally breaks it. I actually skipped this. I've got to be honest. I did just go 10 seconds, 10 seconds, 10 seconds just to see how long it was. And I was going to rewind it just in case I missed a bit of commentary. But I just thought, I'm not going to bother. Because it was about 2 minutes.
It is a long one.
Unbelievable. So yeah, I did miss any commentary that happened at that point. I can't fill you in. Luger breaks free, and again a slam attempt goes wrong. Big leg drop by Yoko, which only gets a 2. and that's significant because he's actually beat Hulk Hogan, the pay-per-view before.
This is a new Hogan.
Yeah. So yeah, let's not mention that to the big yellow monster. The bonsai is set up, and Yoko misses it. Thank God he missed it. Jesus Christ, because he weren't protecting him. He just,
you don't move, brother.
You're fucking dead.
This is where this feud ends.
Luger dodges a charge and finally hits the big slam. The crowd pop. Fuji is laid out. Luger then clocks Yoko with his steel-plated arm because he removed his cover, which I assume is okay because his face is fine.
Here he's got to cover his forearm with an elbow pad.
Yeah. Luger now proves that he's the stupidest babyface of all time because he ignores the fact that he's obviously not going to win as the count is going on. He lays out cornets instead. The crowd, I think, have worked out what's going to happen, but Luger hasn't, as he sort of celebrates the win, but they don't know whether they're supposed to celebrate, because I think the crowd are smart enough to know he's not won the belt, though, has he?
Yeah, because this is a northeastern kind of crowd.
They're not stupid.
Michigan, so it's up there.
I assume...
They know what goes on.
Yeah, I assume this was going to be some sort of Survivor Series team as Tatanka, the Steiners, and Macho Man are out. To celebrate, as Bobby Heenan correctly reminds us that, of course, he hasn't won the world title. Balloons, though, drop from the ceiling. Vince, he will have his rematch, and he will fucking win! It's unbelievable. And then the package, oh, Jesus. The package afterwards was Lex and the boss and the kid.
Yeah, I'll be your hero.
American.
But on the network,
we didn't get the.
But on the DVD, it's the proper.
Did you have I'll Be Your Hero?
Yeah,
we didn't get that.
We got 726 by Michael Nappy.
Oh, your review of it.
It's from 2007, so I could just randomly pick that song. I don't know.
Imagine taking that call. If it was Michael Nappy and they said, right, we want to use your song. Oh, well, what new pay-per-view? No, SummerSlam 93, you know, the Lex Express.
You Rob Luger, damn it! I bought that pay-per-view. Why did you get Mr. American Devil, damn it?
Backstage, I don't know that you caught this on your DVD, but there was a segment.
No, the DVD just cut off after Yoko's lying there. You hear Bobby screaming, and that's it.
Well, on the
so
DVD, on the network, we got an extra tidbit.
I know what it is. It's face-off building. You're not fighting for the belt anymore.
Yeah, so Luger's interviewed by Joe. He puts over it being an honour to compete for the world title. He doesn't seem bothered that
it's
he's
an honour to be American. It's
an
honour to fight for the belt.
Obviously,
it's an honour to win it.
Our favourite heel on the show, Ludvig Borga, walks in. He says he's not impressed with Luger, and if he ever steps in the ring with him, he'll crush him, and he'll break his the backbone of America, which he calls.
Okay.
It was all right. I like how Savage sort of had to push Luger slightly back because I think he thought you were too close here. You need to move back a bit.
Make it seem like you want to fight him.
So, yeah, Jack.
There is that match as well on the unreleased Luger v. Borga.
Is there?
Yeah.
Is there a reason why it was never released?
Yeah.
Jack, thoughts on that?
Yeah, it's bad. It's probably Yoko's worst main event match that he's ever had.
Wrong person to work with him.
Luger, I feel sorry for Luger because, 2 months ago he was a heel. Last pay-per-view he was a heel.
Yes.
And you've just turned him face by slamming him and then said he's now...
Get on that bus for 45 days.
You now have to back him. And it's like, well...
They could have built this to Mania without them having to fight at SummerSlam.
You could have built him and built him and built him. I mean, he wasn't even on house shows. He's going around on a bus.
That's true.
They like you get him over with the people on the street. So I feel sorry for Luger. But it's just a bad match. Then it kills everyone. It kills Luger. It kills Yoko a bit.
Yeah, it didn't help.
It kills the Steiners, Tatanka and Macho Man for celebrating with him. And it kills this new heel that you tried to build by challenging Luger for a belt that he didn't win.
Yeah.
This is a belt you haven't got. When you win that, I will fight for it.
It's like you've made everyone look awful.
Yeah.
It's
no wonder Hogan went, didn't work for me, brother.
Friggin' Bad Man's the only one who looks good.
I mean, you could dissect the booking, which was terrible.
Aaron Neville is the only one who looks good.
Luger's not ready for the main event push anyway. They haven't built him enough. The crowd, I don't think, are 100% behind him. And that gets worse over time.
He's better as a heel.
Yeah. The next feud has already been built after he's not won the belt, which doesn't help Yoko, which doesn't help Luger, and it doesn't help Ludvig, because now he's got to fight a face who's put into the top spot of the company who isn't ready himself. And he isn't ready.
He ain't ready for it.
Yeah. So thank God WWE. Well, thank God for his ankle break, because that
well,
could
he was
have been
doing it with
terrible.
the Steiners. I think he did it on the
Steiner
with the Rumble,
broke his-
the one with the Rumble.
No surprise.
It was then he did it. I think he was fighting Rick Steiner in the
Thank
match
God
because
for
he
it.
was meant to fight Tatanka at Rumble '94.
Who's Rick Steiner? You mean Rob?
Rob, yeah, Rob v
Brother
Tony.
Rob.
Rob v Tony.
But yeah, for me, it was far too long. At the
Yeah.
very least, the one thing you can control is how long you give them. Don't give these 25 minutes to try and build this story when none of them. Luger was never a 60-minute man anyway. But Luger couldn't go that long. He couldn't
No.
sell that long. It wasn't believable.
He's got to have the right person. They both need the right person to work with, not each other. It's
Yeah.
like the Shaw and
We're
Burton.
basically saying everyone needs Brett.
Or Taker. Yeah.
Or Taker.
Yeah, Brett
Because
or
even
Taker.
Taker would have. I don't know about Taker Luger. That would have been strange. But
Taker's
Taker Yoko
pace. Taker's pace as the Michael Myers thing works perfectly for Yoko, doesn't it?
Oh,
Yeah.
we saw that there.
Yeah, we saw it.
But
Was
then,
it the wrong
they
one?
ruined that by sending him to heaven.
Because having 10 men.
Jack, Sam, round us out. Your thoughts on that?
Yeah,
You chose this.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. It was, well, there's a lot of reasons why I chose it. It's, obviously, if you did want to put the belt on him, do it here. But there's all the stories that Vince changed his mind and then said, oh, we'll do it at Mania. And then, because people was going, get Brett,
Yeah.
not Luger. It's just like, yeah, the wrong person. You got Savage. Have him do it.
No, just don't
I
get
mean,
it.
look, he's an established star. He could work with him. And I don't think he would have mind losing to Yoko, even though you've done all this build.
Well, this was the first SummerSlam that both Macho Man or Hogan weren't wrestling on. And neither of them wrestled on this.
And neither
card.
of them was world champion.
Yeah, and we could spend hours dissecting why did Vince think that Randy Savage was too old, and then handpick Luger, who's got the head of a 63-year-old.
Yeah. And Luger's the narcissist gimmick was getting over. It worked.
Yeah.
And I think Luger even felt comfy in that. Not like
Luger's always been I always thought Luger was a better heel
He
than
is
a
a better
face
heel.
anyway, because he is a natural heel.
Except in 2001
Yeah,
when
he's
he's with
that
Buff
person.
Bagwell.
Well, yeah.
Then I think he
By
might have
that
been
point,
done a bit.
he was done.
By then, but,
Throw him out.
but yeah, the narcissist is so much better than this.
Yeah.
It's just Vince Hogan's gone. We need another American man. No, you don't. I mean, you've got Brett for one, who's not American, but you know he can carry the company. He's proved it. You've got Savage still. Taker can do something. Why are you looking at Luger? Look over here at these three. Look at him.
Oh, I didn't get it.
That's why the New Gen was shit, because he was looking at the wrong people.
So, Jack, I'll go to you. Obviously, this wasn't our choice. So, your thoughts on the pay-per-view as a whole?
There's moments where it's decent. You know, the first it starts off quite well, and you're thinking it's all right. Then IRS 123 can turn up, and you're thinking, oh, it's doing a bit here. Brett turns up, okay, and then he dies. So the last sort of hour and a half out of the
It was
2
tough,
and a
yeah,
half, it died on its arse.
I don't
And
think.
you always remember the end.
Yeah.
Say.
I think, definitely. I think you're right. I think there wasn't any complete. Well, there probably was actually. There was some stinkers, but because the expectations are low,
Yeah.
you know, I don't think it would be in the top. If you listed every SummerSlam, it'd be close to the bottom than the top.
Yeah.
But I don't think it's in the worst SummerSlams of all time. But you're right. I think it is considered one of the worst because you left
Because
it
of
with
the
that.
ending.
Yeah, and that's-
Because of all the build, and then you
killed
did that.
7.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it is typical Vince not being ready to leave the Hogan era.
Yeah.
And obviously it needs to leave the Hogan era.
It needs to leave, but if you don't want to leave it, you got Savage.
I don't get it.
Why he's just running around.
This is what he
doing that
does. I
sort of
think
shit.
he has a match. He's in the Rumble, obviously, and then he don't have a match at night. He's on commentary. He's on commentary at King of the Ring. He does this here. Then he fills in at Survivor Series because
Perfect,
Perfect leaves. He's in the Rumble. He has his match with Crush, and then that's it. He's just MCing or commentary.
Yeah, well, then
he left.
the next SummerSlam started to play after I'd watched this, and he's opened the show as the MC.
Yeah, he opened the show, and there is a thing with him and Leslie Nielsen for the taking.
Oh, brilliant.
There is a little promo.
Leslie Nielsen.
That would have been a match.
Yeah, not great. Yeah, Sam?
I find this is an easy watch personally. That's why I picked it. Because, yes, it's shit.
Like that you picked it for comfort.
Yes, I picked it for comfort for a change. Bosh show, damn it. And, I mean, it's like when Finn Balor says that he always has some SummerSlam 95 on. I think I watched like a 24 of his saying when he was younger he'd always have his Lego and that'd always be on a loop. I'd rather watch this on a loop than that one.
Oh, definitely.
So this one I find it easy watching. I don't know, there's just something about 93.
It's just such a weird time.
It's a weird time.
Such a weird time.
You know it's bad, but I think because you know it's bad, it's actually quite good.
Yeah, I think there's...
Because you can see the end of Hogan, you know he's being an arse.
Yeah, there's also so much potential. But 93 was the time that Vince just kept making mistakes.
Yeah.
You know? Just constantly kept making mistakes.
Yeah, you've got all the... And everybody can see, do this. Give it Brett, keep it Brett.
Well, everybody who come in, Borga, Gonzalez,
that's what
they
I mean.
only last a year.
That's what I mean. There's so many things like that. You know, Razor was a good thing. Brett was... But it was all, I see them there, and the ones I really care about is Yoko, who can only wrestle for 4 minutes, Luger,
Ludvig Borga, Taker's restricted because of who you've given him.
Yeah.
Savage, you're too old.
And
no, he's not.
I still desperately want Hogan to not do movies and come back and save us.
Yeah.
Until such time that Hogan then does.
Because the WCW, in which case, forget it. Yeah. Savage is the one. Savage goes.
Well, even that, I mean, that's a mistake, isn't it? He made, for whatever reason, he just couldn't get into his head that Savage was a wrestler anymore. And it was like, that's it. Yeah. And you wasted a potential top star in Savage.
It's weird that he thought he was old, and then you compare it to now, and like, Leslie's 45 and
well, none of it.
AJ's 40.
Was he? Everybody's old.
Yeah.
I mean, I know it is a different era, but I mean, you know, Doink must have been late 30s at this point.
Jerry Lawler's
in his 40s.
Yeah, because that's how King of the Ring 94, right? You've got Piper who was 41 and Lawler who was 44, and that's the new generation.
Yeah.
And then Savage, it's probably just a little bit. Yeah. It was just a little bit younger than them, or around their age, and he's on commentary.
I'll never understand the Macho Man decision. Nah. Anyway, round table then, match of the night. Jeff? I'll let you class the Doink and Lawler one as one match, by the way.
Oh. Ooh! Tag title match I'm going to go.
So am I.
I would go with the Brett story.
Seems reasonable. Worst match of the night?
Ludvig, Marty Jannetty.
No, it's Luger Yoko for me.
No.
At least
more damage to Marty.
I've got to go with Luger Yoko, just because of you did all this build and this is what you give us. It's like what they've done now, to be honest.
MVP?
Bobby Heenan. That's it.
I'll put Doink for covering Bruce Hart in water.
I'm going to go Paul Bearer.
Paul Bearer, that's a good shout. LVP.
Wait for the Great American Bash. He might be the next MVP.
Luger.
Luger for me as well.
Yeah, Luger.
Definitely the LVP.
Luger, it wasn't his fault.
I know. Well, it was a bit.
Well, a little bit. Because apparently, I think as Jim Cornette says, I think he went on a radio show and actually said he was going to win the belt. So that must have been when Vince went, right,
you're not.
So,
we round out our episodes, as we always do, with a fantasy card. Our fantasy card was taking American Heroes. We've been quite free and loose with that.
I'm stuck with wrestling.
Against foreign heels. And again, we were being a bit liberal and free and loose. With
You'll love one match.
Sam, I'll open with you then. Match number one.
My match number one is foreign heel, Ludvig Borga.
Yes.
Versus American hero, Kurt Angle. Because in all honesty, if Borga don't give a shit, he will give a shit when you fight an Angle.
Well, he's already broke his ankle. So,
exactly. Point over Angle.
Quite rightly so. Well, my first match is the world's American strongest man,
Bill Kazmaier.
Big Badgy Ball.
Big Bill.
Versus the African strongest man, Mark Henry, because Vince has recast him.
I thought you were going to say Tony Atlas. Have a Simba.
I thought you was going to say a key.
Because Vince, he's questionable. And I'm putting over Bill, obviously, because the Americans have to win.
He can lift the world. He's obviously stronger.
If it's just filled with air.
He's not the
Fucking
world's
brilliant.
strongest. He's the universe. Lex Luger versus Borga is my first match. Just get it out of the way. And Luger wins.
My next match is for America, John Cena. Because for some reason, when he can be bothered, I will fight for America. versus Kamala.
Holy shit.
That is
not even matches that.
That is a match that I want to see. God damn it.
Bloody.
Cena would still go over, I think.
Uganda.
And I like Kamala, god damn it.
I do like him. He could have been your choice, you know. So my
Wait
second
till
match.
next year, him and IRS.
My second match. Oh God. My second match is the American males. Obviously, because Vince would love them. And versus La Resistance.
Oh, I like that.
They're a French tickler.
Do you tickle Frenchmen?
I'm always putting over the Americans because this is Vince booking it. So the Americans.
Why do we care?
My next match is representing America, American Heroes DOA.
Yes.
On boards with flags.
Vince
and
they represent
questionable Nazi.
Yeah, they are
they call it
Nazis.
Skull.
Yeah. So are they American or German?
Probably more American than most.
Versus Evil Foreigners, the Truth Commission.
Oh, the South African racists.
Oh, what a match.
Nazis being racist.
Luger versus Borga.
We'll go into that and then Kurgan, Brian Lee. And Truth Commission I'm going over because Kurgan's sidewalk slamming everyone.
You ain't getting up from that.
I think that actually happened to Survivor Series 97.
No, it
Is it, you either remember the screw job or that? Which one's more important? Right, my next one is tag match. It's the Smoking Guns, because the Cowboys, damn it,
of course.
versus the greatest heel tag team, Sheik and Volkov. Gotta get Volkov, damn it, and I'm putting them over, because who's more hated than them? We hate the Iranians and the Russians.
Well, my next match is representing America, China. That's confusing. And representing China, Gail Kim.
There's Korea.
I know, but this is Vince. There's later, there's a Japanese representing North Korea. Vince has reversed whoever. Don't forget, my Japanese is represented by a Wild Samoan.
Well, the Japanese is a Wild Samoan.
That's true. Nikolai is Croatian.
Exactly.
He's representing Russia.
So,
and he come out to the Finnish national anthem once.
I just like the juxtapose of China being from England. From
England?
From America, and Gail Kim being from China and being the heel. I'm going to put over China. Leave it at that.
Leave it at that. My next match, Evil Foreigner Test.
American
versus American hero, Hacksaw Jim Duggan.
Yeah.
What a match.
Flag match.
Double DQ.
Flag match.
Brought to the
Duggan's eyes get confused with the upside down flag.
Yeah, you got an American flag. Upside down flag.
He's in distress. That's what it is.
Oh, what a match.
Double DQ.
Your pay-per-view so shit.
I know. I want to see it. My next match is for America, Hogan, because he's got to appear the big yellow goblin himself, versus the Bulgarian, who's also Russian, Rusev. And I'm going to put over Hogan.
Of course.
Because I think Rusev is overrated after seeing him in AEW.
You always follow, whenever Rusev is mentioned, you go out your way to make sure that people know that you think he's overrated.
Like you with Sting, damn it.
I know he's shit.
So's Rusev.
My next match, I think it happened on Raw, but there was certainly an angle. It's Jim Duggan versus Yokozuna.
Super crazy.
That was your words, don't That's what he means. That'd be super crazy. It's Yoko versus Duggan.
That actually happened on the Summerslam. You know, they did the showdown.
Yeah.
That happened before this, and that's when Duggan left.
Yeah, I thought it was.
He did the run instead of Hogan, though.
Yeah.
Duggan ain't taking the fall, is he? So, again.
But he did. He got the rush off.
Double DQ.
Double DQ.
Can't
my next match, you'll like this one. Representing America is JR and the King. Versus representing Evil Foreigners, it's Hugo Sabinovich and Carlos Cabrera.
Brilliant.
For Mexico, come on.
Commentated warfare. And
Stop breaking our tables, damn it.
JR and the King win.
No chance. Yeah, put a JR over.
King's
JR.
pile driving Hugo.
I wanted to see that. Right, this is the match I love. For America, Sergeant Slaughter versus for Iraq, Sergeant Slaughter. That was the first match. That's not right. He's fighting himself now.
Stole the main match.
And he listened to him, friend of the show, Slaughter, you fight yourself. I'll point Slaughter over.
Well, I went down a similar route. I had representing America, Sergeant Slaughter, and representing Iraq, Sheik Tugboat. And I'm putting over Slaughter. Joe himself.
Switch me, mate. I'll split it up. Match 5, Stars and Stripes, Bagwell and the Patriot versus Sheik and Volkov.
Yes.
Sheik and Volkov win.
With the cane, obviously.
With the cane.
With heel, Sheik and Fred Blasser.
To the club. So,
with his kebab.
Evil foreigner Freddie Blasser.
Right, my main event's very undefined. It's Luger v Yoko, and I'm just putting like Yoko over quick.
Still don't know. Main event, Luger, you can have your bus, Yoko. My main event is representing America, the American hero. In fact, if you type in American heroes in Google, the 5th picture after
Captain
presidents is Hogan.
Is it really?
Yeah,
Not Mr. America.
No, but it is Hulk Hogan, yeah, if you put in that in the Google search.
Well, yeah, all that time and spent on marketing work.
Abraham Lincoln, and
George Washington,
all
Thomas
this.
Jefferson,
Yeah,
Hogan. Who was the 4th president of the United States? Hulk Hogan, brother.
If they added another
Rushmore. I was going to say, when you look at it, there is that little gap in the middle. I think that's what it's for.
And he's going up against the North Korean representative of Antonio Inoki. And
What?
Put it over. This is Vince. And I put it over Hulk Hogan.
My main, then, instead of Slaughter v Slaughter, I'll have it as American hero Mr. America
Yes.
versus evil foreigner Mr. Azerbaijan. For the right to be called Mr. Country. And I'll put
Mr. Inside Country.
I'll put over Mr. America.
Oh, that's it.
That's it.
That is it.
That's it.
We've finished. We've done. And there you have it. If you do think of any other American heroes, and there is only one, it's Hulk Hogan, but do let us know at our Facebook page, which is facebook.com/BCC pod, or our website, which is bettercorecreative.com, or our Twitter page, which is at BCC pod. Give us a like and a follow there. We're quite active on Twitter. And that finishes our birthday special edition of Better Core Creative. Sam, I hope you enjoy your birthday.
I hope you're happy.
I hope you're happy.
No diving off roofs, my birthday. Just a fat man sleeping outside.
That is wrestling, folks. That leaves me to say goodbye from Jack Bunyan, resident giant.
Goodbye.
And Uncle Sam himself on his birthday. Goodbye, folks.
You always were there, always beside me, holding my hand every step of the way. Through these eyes you could do no wrong. In these eyes you were brave and strong. In my heart those days live on. You were my hero. Hero. You were my hero. Whoa, whoa. What does it take to be a hero? What does it